You're here. It's absolutely worthy of a 30-year cook, my friend. You know what the 30-year cook is? So, like, I feel like people think the 30-year cook is just that they have been setting up this kind of stuff. Is the music too loud? I feel like the music is too loud. I might have actually just turn it off. So I feel like with the 30-year-old cook thing, people think that it's just that they have been putting clues for something bigger than the original Final Fantasy VII. Whereas this is not how I understand it. How I understand personally the 30-year-old cook is that they went back and they looked for some things that were maybe, overlooked, things that you were not pay attention to necessarily, lots of weird stuff. And they just went, you know what, we're gonna go ham with this kind of stuff, like the rift, something that isn't even acknowledged in the original game, right? The famous rift in the sky, which is actually inside Cloud's subconscious. And I'm like, dude, it's literally Cloud subconscious. Like, why are we now talking about it being something external to that when it was literally within Cloud's subconscious before? Anyways, while I have you, Bunke, and I have you, everyone. So, okay, well, let me start first of all. Thank you so much to everyone joining in. What we are planning to do today is look at a couple of theory videos that have been put out there. I was planning to do from 3 to 6. I started very late, so sorry, everyone. Um, but I do feel that we have enough time to get through, just enough. So we will start with Warriors of Hype's video, which is the one about the planet's identity crisis, which I found very interesting. But there is one twist, in my opinion, that I would recommend to them. And I'm not sure if I commented with this before, which I think is very relevant to the other video as well, which is Josh Sobel's video. Josh Sobel has been amazing on Twitter. I know that there was this whole controversial stuff going on. I personally feel like he conducted himself very well and he did the best he could within the circumstances. But my favorite thing about Josh really is the videos that he was putting out, and I feel like they are overlooked today. So he was very active, kind of 12 to 24 months ago, but I believe that now he is not as active anymore in terms of theory crafting. So, Josh, if you're going to be watching this or reacting or whatever, I hope you get back to it, man, because some of your content has been amazing. Personally, for me, even before I started working on this kind of stuff, I was watching some creator stuff, and some of the videos that really stayed with me is the one about spirituality, which we will be watching. Funny enough, I did not finish the video because whenever I started, I go back to it. It had Lost spoilers, and I was literally watching Lost within that specific period of time. So I'm like here watching Lost. I'm trying to go through, what is it, 5, 6 seasons, 7 seasons, I don't remember. Uh, and I'm watching Final Fantasy VII Rebirth theory videos on the side. Well, guess what? Spoilers all of a sudden appear in the Final Fantasy VII stuff. Lost spoilers. And so, Josh, you almost screwed up my experience with Lost. I'm joking. If anything, it enhanced it because I sat down. I was like, huh. So at least one person thought that there are similarities and connections. So you know what? I'm really gonna pay attention to Lost. But I was doing it with my wife, and we really enjoyed it. It's one of the best TV shows we've ever watched, her and I. So yeah, that's how it started. The rift, I remember when someone pointed that it was in the OG. Was it subtext? Oh no, subtext did the other thing, which was the famous the images, right, and the outro in the credits. Josh, it's nice to see you. I don't know how to take that. I don't know who James Earl Jones is. If you guys haven't figured out, I'm going undercover, but I'm not a native speaker. Just to be totally clear, I'm not a native English speaker. I've only moved to an English speaking country less than 2 years ago. There are a lot of references which I get. There are a lot of references which I will not get, like this one about James Earl Jones. You know what? I'm gonna Google the guy. You have piqued my interest now. James Earl Jones. pioneer for black actors in the entertainment industry. It was acclaimed for his performances. So I don't know. Is it like positive? Is it negative? Like, is it because he narrates stuff? I don't know. Do I have a talent, guys? Should I start narrating stuff? Darth Vader. Oh my God, John Ron. Is John your name, by the way? Because I always see your suit, but I don't know what your actual name is. I haven't watched Star Wars, guys. I have a bit of a confession to make. I haven't watched Star Wars. I haven't finished it. I haven't finished it. Did I even start it? Probably didn't start it. Hey, yeah, it's all right. I mean, in and out. You can watch the VOD later. As you can see, this is already like we've been 10 minutes when we haven't started a single thing. So this is going to be just a chat, literally. And I've been dying to do one of these since probably a month or two before because it's always like, okay, let's play Ever Crisis. Let's do this kind of stuff. And it starts and you're like running, racing against time. And we have to finish this kind of thing. And it just becomes very difficult to sit down and relax and talk about stuff, right? So I'm really enjoying this. It's super deep. My audio. No, it's just my voice that is super deep, Josh. Is it way too deep? Because I did play with the EQ, so you might have a point. So you tell me when it becomes better. What about now? Is it better now? I mean, deep audio is good. Yeah. So we will start reacting to those YouTube videos. I just want to tell you guys, I did my best in terms of technical stuff, setting things up in terms of being able to screen share my Chrome YouTube video, whatever. If things get messy, I do have a backup plan, which is no need for me to give too many details, but basically I do have a backup plan. I might have to just go and be right back for a couple of minutes and then try to set it up, but it might be a struggle. I hope it's not. I really hope not. Hey, Stoic. Long time no see. It's so good to have you here, my friend. Wow, we got a lot of suspects today. By the way, I considered like I'm the king of theory making, whatever. I was kind of thinking, should I actually finish reacting to your video, because I saw something appeared on my feed. I think maybe Subtext was reacting to your video, and I saw a couple of things, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. I really want to talk to Stoic about this, because I disagreed on a couple of things, obviously. But then the reason I'm doing these two videos together is because they are very much, they are in theme against each other, right? They are very consistent with each other. So the first thing is that these two videos, let me actually go ahead and possibly share my screen here. Let me just make sure everything is fine. Okay. If we do this, let's take okay. By the way, do you guys know the name of this person? Because I've seen his content a lot. I know that Warriors of Hype they were called Final Fan TV, and there's a lot of people within that group, right? I really love their content. Anyone who will hype Final Fantasy is a win for me, like right away. There's nothing that's gonna stop me from that. Oh yeah, I've seen that, Stoic. It's all right. We're all trying, man, right? Like, this time of the year is surprisingly busy, like for everyone, it seems. I don't know why. So I believe that if I go screen and cam, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna need you guys to tell me if the video audio is good. Okay, it wasn't that deep in other streams. Josh, your sense of detail is amazing, because this is the first time I do EQ on my microphone. So you're totally right. Also, this is a completely new setup. You guys might have figured it out with the overlays and everything, with the background light and everything. So today, what's the theme of today? It's the planet's dreams. Does blue make sense? I don't think blue makes sense. I think green makes sense, right? If you guys want another color, just tell me. Right. Green because live stream. So let me go ahead and do this. So let me explain why I believe these two videos are connected. If you look at the title of this video by Warriors of Hype, Final Fan TV formerly, right? And if you guys know the name of this person, can you please let me know? What this is essentially Jung's model of the psyche. Bunkei's eyes are now open and wide up because, okay, now we know what you're talking about. Carl Jung is, personally for me, I believe that Carl Jung is the single biggest influence on the story of Final Fantasy VII, and especially Final Fantasy VII Remake. The reason he is important to both is, first of all, he is important to Final Fantasy VII because of the identity angle. And the journey of Noxious talks about it a lot. He says that that's what he thinks Final Fantasy VII is about, the process of self-actualization, basically finding who you are. Final Fantasy VII Remake does the same thing. However, I believe Final Fantasy VII Remake is even more rooted in Carl Jung psychology because it includes a lot of dream and symbolism themes and aspects within it. And we will talk about this in a minute when we watch the video. So this is why I believe that these two videos are connected, because you will notice that this one talks about the planet's identity crisis. So it's almost as if they are treating the planet as one person. And you can add, it's almost as if we took the planet to Carl Jung for a diagnosis of what's going on with their mind, with their unconscious, right? The second video by Josh is, and I hope I'm rambling here, going on ramblings, but I really hope we will get enough time to watch both. I will obviously have to stop and not talk too much during the videos. But the second one talks about when planets dream. You can see how they are connected. So Stoic, this is why I opted to do both of them at the same time, because I think they cover the same thing, but I have a commentary on both of them. Different comments on each, but I have one big commentary on both of them, and I'll probably say towards the end. Some of you can already guess. Bunkei, I'm sure you already guess what my comment here is when we talk about the planet's dream. Is it? I mean, I guess it's in the title already. Yeah, you are super detail oriented. I can definitely see that. Thanks a lot for pointing it out. Actually, so which one does sound better, by the way? Because it's deeper, but does it sound better? Does this one sound better when I took it back? Right. So let's go. Let's start. This is a only quote unquote 17-minute video, so it should be, fine in terms of not taking too long. So, okay, well, let's get started.
All right, so let's take a look at Carl Jung's model.
Can you guys please let me know if the audio is coming fine? I will try not to talk over the video at all so that we make sure that the sound is coming through well. And I don't want to interrupt them too much. Funny that I do it in the first 2 seconds of the freaking video. But I really want to give them the time to expand on their ideas. And the other thing I want to say is, yeah, please let me know if the audio is good. Okay, is like, hey, this is right up our alley, right? Okay, let's go.
Of the psyche and
Sorry.
All right, so let's take a look at Carl Jung's model of the psyche and picture a planet, a world. Okay? I believe that the planet in Final Fantasy VII, Gaia, is its own individual. It has a psyche. So to take a look at that a little bit more, let's talk about a little bit what we're seeing here. The self. Now, the self is what we all strive to achieve. It is perfect balance, right? Between the ego, the shadow, the persona, everything is perfectly balanced. And I believe that is what the planet is before the events of Final Fantasy VII Remake. We are looking at the planet's true self, the planet's will, right there, the nucleus here. Think of the planet right here as the outer world. It is the physical plane in which we project our persona onto, our mask, our personality to other people. The planet is projecting its personality, its persona onto the physical plane.
So for the last minute and 30 or whatever, I've been trying to understand what this song is, and it's... What is that? Is that Temple of the Ancients? That's not Temple of the Ancients. What song is that? Anyways, and the version is so weird. Like, you expect a certain note and then it goes a different direction. I love that.
Planet is projecting its personality, its persona onto the physical plane, and it is what creates the world out there. And it is made up of the collective
Mic sounds okay, but glitches a little bit, so maybe have a check later. Might be plugins or settings. You sound a bit deeper. You don't have a cold, do you? I don't have a cold. funny enough, Stoic, you say that. Sephiroth video is the one where I had a cold. So is the stream glitching, you say? That's what I was kind of dreading. Let me actually play and see.
Conscious of everything that it
And
our
I've been interrupting
persona
him.
onto our mask, our personality to other people. The planet is projecting its personality, its persona onto the physical plane, and it is what creates the world out there. And it is made up of the collective unconscious of everything that has once lived. Every single living thing. I do want to preface again that I am not educated on all of this. I am not a professor. I don't know this. I did not study.
And you know, this is the same thing that we're all going to be saying, to be totally honest, is that, yeah, it's very difficult to talk about this kind of stuff. At the same time, Nojima-san comes up and says, hey, if you read Carl Jung's, if you learn about Carl Jung's collective unconscious and Yogacara, to be, I think this is the right pronunciation, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, then you might get a hint about the ending of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And we're like, we all need to get PhDs in this. And this is exactly what I've been doing personally the last few couple of months. And Bunke, you know what I'm talking about. So I believe it's very hard for us. It's a very difficult job to combine theory crafting in a topic that you don't really, and bring in a topic that you don't really know, which is psychology and Carl Jung and Buddhism and so on. So sometimes I personally, to be totally honest with you guys, I feel like it's not going to be an imposter syndrome, but I feel like I kind of being too overconfident with some of the stuff I'm putting out, right? In the sense that I should not be necessarily pursuing some of this stuff, even that I haven't studied it. It's working, but just double check later. Video audio is okay. Your mic is a little off, I'd say. Not sure if it's just me. What do you mean by off? Let me center it. I just told my wife this like 30 minutes ago. I spend the whole week trying to figure my stream setup. Everything works smoothly. I record 4K stuff, well, not 4K, 1080, 60 FPS, whatever. I stream with YouTube. I stream to myself, my video, my playthroughs, whatever you want. The day I click go live, this whole thing just, I don't know. It realizes that we are live and it freaks out. Like, OBS freaks out and is like, huh, why are we live now all of a sudden? I am going to do one thing. I'm going to make my camera only, what is it, 1280? And see if that fixes it. I hope so. If not, not sure what we can do, but we're going to try it. Okay. 1280, 720. Camera just decided to disappear. Brilliant stuff. Oh, let's look at that. It might be. Might be because of that. Nojima is a tease. Okay, you guys can now literally see my stream set up, which is also great. You guys get a good glimpse into the bedroom. TMI. Yeah, technology sucks, man. Actually, let me figure something out. He will give us a hint that you can interpret 10 different ways. See, this is the kind of stuff I like slightly disagree with Stoic. It's because I know that we have been putting out this kind of expectation that, hey, they're just trying to lose us. So every time they will try to say something that makes sense to both sides, those who believe that it's the same story, those who believe that it's not, which is, you know, in itself is a bit of a challenge to really understand what each side today presents as a possibility. That's a whole nother topic. But I do believe that it's a bit simpler in the sense that I don't see their quotes as being necessarily baiting reaction from both. I really do feel that there are a lot of quotes that are kind of, I'm not going to say straightforward, but as straightforward as it can get, right? Now, that's my opinion. And it's actually one of the commentaries that I wanted to say on your video, Stoic, by the way. So when we get there, hopefully next week, right? So is everything coming through fine? Listen, We're gonna have to make do with whatever we have now. If this is the best, hopefully.
I am actively educating myself through looking up on Google, the internet, watching a ton of videos on
Probably
this
need to
stuff,
speed the voice up a
and
bit, right?
kind of relating it to Final Fantasy VII because of what scenario writer Kazushika Nijima said, that, hey, the collective unconscious theory by Carl Jung could play into knowing what's going to happen in Part 3. Just a little, tip of the hat for you. I wish I was wearing mine. I'm balding, but that's another story. Anyway.
You're balding. You're balding. But that's nothing to be, like, we're not talking about the same levels, my friend. Oh my god. Anyways. Amazing.
The
Thanks,
personal
brother.
unconscious is the product of the interaction between the collective unconscious, the life stream, and the development of the individual, the planet, during its life. So the planet's will.
So let me make sure I understand that. The personal unconscious
Is the product of the interaction between the collective unconscious, the life stream, and the development of the individual, the planet, during its life.
Right.
So the planet's will, the collective unconscious of everything that's living in the life stream, it's working together to project the persona onto.
Vic, is that Victor Madov? Yeah, I saw your gameplay, man, and tried to interact. Guys, I mean, a lot of you would have already seen his video, right? I think you have more than 100K on your big video, right? 3 hour. 100K on the 3-hour video, man. Dude, that's insane. Well done. You guys check him out. He has one of the most impressive theory videos I've seen when I was starting to put things before I started to put things out, to be honest. So again, it was one of the inspirations. I kind of developed a bit of different understanding, Victor, to be totally honest. I kind of went a different branch, but when I was starting to look, when I finished the game and I was looking at your video, I was like, this guy spots some things that are like not everyone spots. Like your eye to detail was also super interesting. And theory crafting really needs a lot of imagination that perhaps 90% of the time will just be nonsense and doesn't lead anywhere. So this is why some theories will sound totally crazy and wild and as they don't make sense. It's like these guys are just doing a fan fiction. And so that imagination and the ability to keep going creative ways about explaining the story for the 5 or 10% times that it really turns out to be true, I think is essentially what we all like or love, right? And I found a lot of creativity in the way you were approaching things. So this is what I wanted to say.
To the physical plane. It's just like that person from Cosmo Canyon said, where the planet is as much a part of us as we are part of the planet. And now I'm going to read this quote directly from Carl Jung about the unconscious. Quote, everything of which I know, but of which I am not at the moment thinking. Everything of which I was once conscious, but have now forgotten. Everything perceived by my senses, but not noted by my conscious mind. Everything which, involuntarily and without paying attention to it, I feel, think, remember, want, and do. All the future things which are taking shape in me and will sometime come to consciousness, all this is the content of the unconscious. Besides these, we must include all more or less intentional repressions of painful thought and feelings. I call the sum of these contents the personal unconscious. End quote. Okay, so the personal unconscious is the repressed feelings that the planet has. But
okay, allow me to stop. I know that the development of the point is being done and made. Repression of... So, first of all, I believe that the approach is amazingly accurate. So this person, Warriors of Hype, Final Fantasy formerly, when they heard the Carl Jung stuff, they didn't just stop at collective unconscious. So Nojima's quote is, I used influences from collective unconscious and Yogacara. So if you learn about this stuff, you might understand the end of the story. I might give you hints. The thing is that we all took collective unconscious and we said, oh, well, this is just live stream because it's collective and it's unconscious. Yes, but that's not everything. What this person did is they went to Carl Jung's work and they analyzed it, which I believe is the exact right approach you should do, because Nojima is not going to sit there and tell you, well, you know what? In Final Fantasy VII, the mind is this, the planet is that, and then I took an influence from the collective unconscious, which is supposed to represent this, whereas you have the personal unconscious, which is supposed to represent that. He's not going to do that. He's going to throw one or two buzzwords to you, just like he did, and he will expect us all to run wild with our crazy speculation. And this is exactly what happened. They know exactly what they do, of course. However, what this person did is that they went and they learned about Carl Jung's entire work. It definitely shows because his theory of the psyche is Carl Jung's biggest work. The collective unconscious is, you guys can see it here. How much is it? I don't even think you can see it on the first model. So we were at 3 and something. Let me go back to the first image they showed. So collective unconscious technically is supposed to be, let me show you how it's supposed to be. So psyche model Jung, I think this is where we're going to see it. I believe this might be a good one. There you go. So you guys look at this. You have the entire psyche. This is what Carl Jung says. He tells you that you have your ego, your shadow. So they will talk about it. I'm not going to talk about that. You have your personal unconscious, and then you have your collective unconscious. So your mind is able to go into the collective unconscious and take insights and take archetypes, and we'll talk about them. This is why Nojima spoke about the green area here. He didn't speak about everything. Now, we all went crazy and started analyzing, oh, well, anima, animus, the archetypes, the hero journey, blah, blah, and these are all relevant. But what Warriors of Hype did is recognize that the collective unconscious is a small part of Nojima's work. And personally, I believe that all the rest is much more interesting when you look at it holistically and you apply it to an individual. But we'll get to that because remember, I was pointing here when he was talking because I didn't want to interrupt him, but he spoke about repressions, things that the planet has repressed. Now, I believe the approach is amazingly accurate and the right idea. I absolutely believe that this can be applied to the planet. My first commentary, and I think I'm getting ahead of myself here, is can all of this be applied to an individual instead of a planet? So I will rewind a bit, and what I want you guys to do is sit down. Sit down. If you're listening to this while standing up, just stand up. But focus on what he's saying and go with it in terms of the planet, but consider the parallel angle where we are describing a person's mind rather than the planet's mind. And I think we'll talk about it in a minute, okay? Stoic, I don't necessarily think the devs are always baiting us, but it's definitely a bit of a raw touch. I'm sorry, guys. I don't get all the... this video is definitely impressive. Warrior of Hype cooked hard. Absolutely, I totally agree. And we are like, what, 3 minutes? You're going to have to explain to me that reference. I feel like this is not cultural. I should just know it. But anyways.
Everything which, involuntarily and without paying attention to it, I feel, think, remember, want, and do. All the future things which are taking shape in me and will sometime come to consciousness. All this is the content of the unconscious. Besides these, we must include all more or less intentional repressions of painful thought and feelings. I call the sum of these contents the personal unconscious. End quote. Okay, so the personal unconscious is the repressed feelings that the planet has, but has now perfectly in balance with. Okay, we are perfectly balanced with all of these feelings, emotions, and unconscious thought. The planet's true self. But let's take a look at what happens at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake when Sephiroth convinces the party to shatter the boundaries of fate. In other words, to fracture the psyche of the planet. And this is what we end up with. Right here, the planet's shadow self has now split from the planet's ego. And I call that Lifestream White and Lifestream Black.
When I do this, it means swap the planet and cloud, okay? When I do this, swap the planet and cloud. Let's listen again.
Right here, the planet's shadow self has now split from the planet's free to shatter the boundaries of fate. In other words, to fracture the psyche of the planet. And this is what we end up with. Right here, the planet's shadow self is now split from the planet's ego. And I call that life stream white and life stream black. The planet's ego, the ego coming from, again, Society of Analytical Psychology, as the center of the field of consciousness, in which contains our conscious awareness of existing and a continuing sense of personal identity. Now, I think that the planet is undergoing a identity crisis at the moment, but the planet's ego is still there. The planet's will is there, but it's now fractured, it's split. The planet's shadow self is now here, and that is now Sephiroth at the nucleus of this.
Do you guys understand what I mean? I hope someone understands what I mean, and you guys can mention it in the chat if what I'm saying is too, either if I'm not making sense or if it's true. The idea is insanely relevant. And while watching this, I was like, please make the jump to Cloud. As soon as you swap Cloud and the planet, you see it that way, you will not be able to unsee it, okay?
And Sephiroth at the nucleus of this is infecting the planet's collective unconscious.
So it gets the splatted ink test where you say, if in random shape you see a butterfly or a person or a thing, it's highly subjective test which often reveals your biases. Oh, okay. Oh, got it. So it's basically people will only hear what they want to hear, right? This is Angel.
Infecting the souls of everything that has once lived. It's infecting it with negative energy, infecting it with despair. So, splitting this off, the planet now, and again, quoting the person from Cosmo Canyon, the NPC from the seminar, will kind of come into play here. What we're seeing is the planet's fractured psyche, unable to distinguish between what is fact and the unrealized desires of the collective unconscious, now projecting multiple personas. Let's talk about that in just a moment. And if you zoom in, you can see the etchings within. And there is this orbit that kind of goes around. I found this to be very, very fascinating. And again, I talk about the menu screen of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in a video all on its own. It's a pretty cool analysis.
Wow.
In that video.
This analysis was eye-opening. The square inside a square inside a square is a pretty big thing. The mandalas, I believe, are these mandalas? But anyways, the mandalas are also a pretty big thing. Stoic just reached level 1. Stoic and Bunke, you guys are the first ones able to do this.
Video. I was
Congrats.
really proud of it. It didn't perform as well as I hoped, so please go check it out. But in there, I do talk about this
Please go check out this video, guys, okay? We gotta boost it.
a little bit too. Notice how Cloud's orbit in the true self was circling the planet's collective unconscious, perfectly centered in this. And this is me theoretically, because this wasn't in the Rebirth menu screen, but I'm just like, hey, theoretically, this is what I think the planet looked like before the events of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think he's just like everything all living things do in the conscious, the collective unconscious. It's right there. Cloud is centered. But when you see this in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's menu screen, you see this orbit kind of, it's almost like it's being pulled. It's like, yeah, it's still attached to the planet's true self or the planet's
Bunke is
ego,
smirking.
but now it's being pulled.
He knows
out
what's
of
going on.
orbit and almost orbiting around Sephiroth, just like we see in the events of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where Cloud is being pulled towards Sephiroth. The planet is projecting its persona onto the physical world, but what happens when the boundaries of fate are broken? Well, Sephiroth is now projecting his shadow self. He is remaking a world right now at the edge of creation.
Big time.
He's remaking
Big
a
time.
world
Swap them out big
using
time.
The life stream black, the shadow self.
Yeah.
But when that happened, new worlds were born, as Sephiroth says, and there's Zack's world. Zack's world is now being projected onto the, and I'm just saying Zack's world. I don't necessarily think that is Zack's consciousness projecting onto the persona. I think that the planet itself is having a hard time distinguishing what was the real projected persona. I think the planet is having a hard time figuring out what is fact and what is fiction. So
Stoic, it's not confusing. Listen to me. Replace planet with cloud. Go back to the sentence and replace planet with cloud.
to the Zack's world. Zack's world is now being projected onto the, and I'm just saying Zack's world. I don't necessarily think that is Zack's consciousness projected onto
Okay, we have been
the
talking about
persona.
this.
I think that the planet itself is having
Cloud himself?
a hard time distinguishing what was the real projected persona.
What was the real projected persona? This guy has an identity crisis. He does not know where he is Cloud or Zack. He does not know what his last reliable memory is.
I think the planet is having a hard time figuring out what is fact and what is fiction. So now there's another one that's being
Cloud has a hard time figuring out what is fact and what is fiction. It feels like, I'm so sorry, Warriors of Hype, if it feels like I'm just like, undermining your video here. This is really not my objective, because it's an amazing amount of great logical statements and conclusions based on a good chain of thoughts, right? My only comment is, please replace the planet with Cloud, and that's it. And in my opinion, in my modest, humble opinion, which, could be totally wrong by the time Part 3 lands, in my opinion, replace the planet with Cloud, and you would have absolutely figured out everything, almost everything about Remake.
projected out to the real world that the planet is confused about. And Zack is alive in this one. And this is also the one where Zack chooses to go get the cure for Cloud, or go speak with Hojo. What if he goes to the reactor where Biggs is about to bomb it? And then we have a special case, Aerith's world. This is Aerith's dream. Let's just call it a dream, right? This is the one where Aerith and Cloud have that dream date.
Yeah.
And then, what about at the end of Rebirth?
So my question is, in the world where they are having a date, what does the stamp look like? We know it looks like Zack. Which persona is Cloud embodying? I have two ways. I have two possible tracks in my opinion. Bunke, we have spoken about it once again. I think it's either one of the two. I don't know which one is correct. They are kind of opposite, but I'll let you guys give me your ideas or thoughts.
When Cloud parries the attack from Sephiroth
Exactly,
and
Bunke.
saves Aerith, I believe that Cloud has now created a new false persona.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He has created a persona. Worlds equal personas. Worlds equal personalities. In French, Aerith tells Cloud, you should focus on finding your true personality. This is literally what she tells him. Dog breeds. What makes dog breeds different from each other? It's essentially how much they follow orders. I'm just speaking of what I know. From what I know, I might be totally. If someone is knowledgeable in dog breeds, please correct me. They are different in terms of how much they listen to orders, I believe, how much they follow orders, whether they heard or not, whether they are actually retrievers, whether they like going and, like hounds, they want to go outside and fetch things, or whether they are more like a toy version of a dog, right? Like more of like a plushie almost, right? The smaller household dogs that are not really part of the other bigger breeds. So these dog breeds differ in their personalities. As soon as you look at the worlds as personalities, I guarantee you that the whole vision will change. This isn't about me, it's about saving the world and you. Absolutely, Bunke. I mean, in a way, you both may be right. Maybe the planet and Cloud are going through the same thing. Obviously, the question remains how exactly that connects to the worlds we see in Rebirth. Guys, this is the funniest thing ever. But Stoic, I will come back to your comment, but I forgot to disable one of the two bots. I'm so sorry for this. This is the least professional stream ever. So the stream elements bot is doing periodical alerts where it tells you, hey, join the Discord, like the video, and this kind of stuff. Botrix on the flip side is assigning levels to people in the chat based on how many messages they send. The stream elements bot has sent so many chats that the Botrix version, that the Rix bot, whatever it's called, actually assigned a level to it. It's now keeping score. This is free ad. This might be illegal, guys. So you know what? I'm gonna go and disable this Botrix thing because it's insane. I never thought something like this could happen. Stoic, I mean, in a way, both. Yeah. So, Stoic, my question is, do you find it way more concrete to understand aspects like this when it comes to an individual person like Cloud versus the planet is confused? You see what I mean? the planet has repressed feelings or emotions is kind of, I'm not saying it's wrong. It could be right. The thing is that it's a very difficult angle for me to look. As soon as you make it personal, then you tell me that this dude, who we know has a lot of repressed emotions and memories, is actually at the center of all of this. And the dreams are his dreams. And the fracture is the fracture of his own psyche, without necessarily saying that the worlds are only a product of his mind. By the way, I have seen this theory kind of caricatured, more or less, with positive or negative intentions. I'm not going to delve into that. With a sentence of, how can it all be in Cloud's head? This is not what we're saying. We're saying that some of the things we are exposed to, like the Zack worlds, have probably much more to do with Cloud's identity crisis versus the actual fate of the planet. And the proof to that is that Zack's whole arc in Rebirth serves absolutely nothing except finding a cure for Cloud, getting Aerith and the White Materia safe so that she gives it to Cloud, and fighting with Cloud at the end of creation. These are the three things Zack does in Rebirth. Please let me know how any of this is important to the fate of the planet without going through Cloud. Literally every single one of them goes through helping Cloud do something. And Aerith. By accessory, whatever the word is.
Perry's dream, right? This is the one where Aerith and Cloud have that dream date.
Yeah.
And then, what about at the end of Rebirth, when Cloud
This is going to be a one video stream, right,
parries
guys?
the attack from Sephiroth
Now reviewing my
saves
expectations. John Ron and Stoic, I'll come back to your comments later.
Aerith.
We see the
I
AI
believe that
apocalypse.
Cloud has now created a new false persona. And
For
this is the
himself.
one in which he saves Aerith. And I also think that maybe it's also the one where Zack wakes up in the church at the end of
possible.
Rebirth. So
Wait,
perhaps
what's that behind Zack? Is that a graffiti or just art, like, I don't know, stuff within the... Okay, whatever.
it's also the one where Zack wakes up in the church at the end of Rebirth. So perhaps Aerith and
Absolutely,
Zack will be in the same
Bunke.
world in part
I don't know if it's memories or
And
actual...
again, it's a false persona.
thing
It is
live,
not
but
the real
yeah.
true persona. And I think all of this will have to be resolved.
Eh.
It's not Aerith and Zack will be in the same world in part 3.
Yeah.
And again, it's a false persona. It is not the real true persona. And I think all of this will have to be resolved and we'll finally get the true self back. And I think that's also
The true self of who? Sorry, guys. Sorry, my friend. Someone needs to tell me his name because I keep telling Warriors of Hype. Absolutely spot on. For me, according to my own theory, which could be wrong or right, I am no authority on this. I absolutely probably know more about Carl Jung than I do. Getting back the true self of whom? Whom? John Ron, yes, how Cloud's struggles could be so great to impact the functions of the planet. Is that because he is around these circumstances with Aerith and Sephiroth, those with the power to change fate? John Ron, this is an absolutely great question. I believe that, remember in the OG how, which weapon actually saves Tifa? Is it Ultima? It's Ultima, right? So remember how the Ultima weapon literally saves Tifa. So why is Tifa important in the OG? We're not even talking about whispers or anything, right? The Ultima weapon saving Tifa in the OG from the Junon execution is literally the exact same thought process or sequence of actions leading to the same result as what the weapons do in the livestream sequence that we get in Gongaga in Rebirth. The Sapphire weapon. Okay, sorry. I completely messed them up. Is it Sapphire? Anyways, my memory is completely hazy when it comes to that. And I just laid it last week. Wow. But we didn't see the weapon, right? Yeah, I don't think we've seen the weapon in action in Ever Crisis. So the weapons already in the OG figure out that there is something wrong with Tifa being executed and they don't like that. They want to help her. Now, why would the weapons help Tifa? Because they know she's instrumental to the planet's survival or to the planet's fate. How can she be instrumental to the planet's fate? It's because the planet, which controls the weapons, knows that the way to defeat Sephiroth is the one who started it all, the one through which Sephiroth is able to do anything to begin with. I know that he's able to interact through the Black Robes. I know that he's able to interact through Genova and whatnot. But the one person who actually gets in the Black Materia is Cloud Strife. So the planet understands that the one person whose body is a true vessel for Sephiroth's will is Cloud. So the planet knows that in order to save itself, it should be able to give the person who can save Cloud a better chance. This is exactly what we see in Rebirth in the live stream sequence in Gongaga, the mini live stream sequence in Gongaga, the failed live stream sequence in Gongaga. And then the second thing is obviously the OG, the weapon helping her in the OG. John, I agree. It is possible that it was an accident. But doesn't she say thank you or something like that? I don't know. I don't remember. I thought that was always consensus that she was saved by the weapon, but the Gongaga section added in Rebirth the two things for the story to explain how Tifa could navigate the live stream so expertly when she helped Cloud, why Sapphire weapon was saved Tifa's life. Absolutely. It gives you more context to that. And you know what? I also subscribe to the idea that the memory, literally Tifa we were about to get a live stream sequence, and Tifa and Sephiroth just stopped it. He just nipped it in the bud. Because the weapons, they specifically emerge and take Tifa back. They like Tifa was literally almost back to the party, right? She almost made it back to the party. So they specifically made sure that they will get her down so that she looks at memories. And I believe she was heading towards the true Cloud when Sephiroth stopped her. This is I don't know what it could be there. It could be the Nibelheim memories. It could be where the real Cloud is. It could be another dream world. I don't know. But I believe that she was heading there. Ultima attacks many places. That's totally true. That's a fair point. I still think they saved her just because, I mean, there is a bit of a confirmation bias here because I'm going to be using what happened in Rebirth to confirm that it already happened in the OG, which is what I'm using as a as a proof to what happened in Rebirth. So it's kind of a circular kind of reference, whatever. But I do think that it saved her. But anyways, yeah, it's to debate. We'll see in part 3.
What Sephiroth is hoping to do as well. But I do want to talk about how each of these projected persona have to use the collective unconscious to create, which is requiring live stream energy, because live stream energy is collective unconscious energy to project that persona. And that's why we see at Big's world, there's no, it's all dried up, because I think maybe the planet has realized that that's not the real one. We're gonna get that one's got to go, but this one's got to go. But all of that, all of those beings that are on that planet that have now seen the end of the world coming. Hi, it's me from the editing room. Let's just call it maybe fragmented consciousness that's powering the other
What's
worlds.
going on? I don't remember this.
And is going to.
Oh, okay, he was correcting
all
something.
Of those beings that are on that planet that have now seen the end of the world coming. Hi, it's me from the editing room. Let's just call it maybe.
You guys want to know a funny thing? Okay, hold on. I'm coming back, guys. I don't know if it's going to be a good idea or not. Give me 1 second. I'll be back. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see what I'm going to do. Yeah. You could probably see me in the mirror, but it's fine. Where is that thing? I'm going to find it. Here, but it's not. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Oh, you know. Were you guys actually able to see me through the mirror? Or not? I hope not. This is insane. We agree on everything. Hope you guys get the reference. Well, when I replay it, you will get it, probably.
Maybe fragmented consciousness that's powering the other worlds.
Warriors of Hype, I'm your biggest
and
fan.
It's going to return home. A homecoming. But when it returns home, it's coming back as negative energy. It's coming back with despair. Their world ended. This is the live stream from the other world, I think. From the world that is ending. It's that live stream. It's coming in, and watch it transform into despair. Watch their world has ended, and all of these souls are now black. And not only that, the returning energy is more potent because it is returning as negative energy.
Oh my god.
And why do I say that negative energy is more powerful? Well, we just go over Dr. Gottman and Robert Levinson to prove that the magic ratio is 5 positive things for every 1 negative. It's fine.
Guys, look at Prof. Noxus's outfit. He's really doing he's going all the way. He's all the way in. Something to remember in the OG, Tifa could hear the voices of the planet. Yes, that is when she's KO for 7 days, isn't it? Okay. During the original live stream sequence. Or was it then? I thought it was when she, when they gave the black materia to Sephiroth and she's like, yeah, where are you, Cloud? I need you, I'm hearing some stuff. Unless it was when they fell in medial. It could be the same thing, anyways. Guys, stream elements is going wild. I gotta disable Botrix, I forgot. Yeah, spot on. She was about to see the rest of Cloud's memories in Rebirth. Yeah, I totally agree, Stoic. Then Sephiroth stabbed the weapon to prevent it. Absolutely. I agree that remake seems to be recontextualizing things. My favorite word, John. In Ever Crisis, there's a line where in the Falna exposition, she said the plant was silent and listening. I don't know. We can check, though. We can look at the translation. But I'm not sure. I don't know.
5 times more powerful than what the planet was originally operating on. And it's going to come back into and merge back into the collective unconscious.
Okay.
And of course, Sephiroth's live stream black is what's going to be what it's going to become. And until hopefully it absorbs, it subsumes the what we see in the true self.
She is talking to the planet. She's hearing from the planet.
Its true self. The planet was already dying. The planet was already having its spiritual energy sucked out of it.
Thank you.
From Shinra. Like, it was already having a hard time. But when you bring in...
Which means that the planet being angry at what's happening on the surface already at the beginning of FF7 OG and remake makes total sense. It's not something that is like, oh my god, why are the Whispers all of a sudden prone to being manipulated by Genova? Or prone to want to change things. They were already, the planet was already suffering at the beginning.
In this fractured psyche of the planet. And when you have, it's coming back to the planet, these worlds it's trying to power with its already limited supply. It's starving, it's famished. So when the energy is coming back into the planet, it's feeding the planet, as Sephiroth says, to feed the planet. Just because it's not human or playable character, it might be overlooked, but the planet is certainly probably one of the main protagonists of Final Fantasy VII, so it makes sense to have a parallel. Much like Cloud's broken psyche is restored in the...
So it seems they did speak about it. They did talk about that in this kind of stream. So I'll have probably to check it out, especially they had also Prof. Noxus and the rest of their squad, so I want to check it out. Steed, I would like for you to play the last 2 voice clips on stream. This addresses the negative emotions angle. Yeah, totally. I mean, I hope I have time, but yeah, but then I gotta go into Discord. Gotta try it out.
Is merging worlds, and each time he does, it helps repair the planet's fractured consciousness. The planet could see Sephiroth.
I love his style, dude.
He is good. Sephiroth tells Cloud to listen to her rapture, which by definition means extreme pleasure. Cloud mistakes this as cries of pain because he has listened to the original soundtrack of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, he's reading the Ultimania. Sorry, guys. I thought it was kind of dropping this knowledge.
But Sephiroth is disappointed that Cloud doesn't understand. The spiritual energy from these errant worlds will inevitably merge back to the main source, which you can imagine this starving planet will appreciate.
Spite and sorrow are harvested to feed the planet. Listen to the planet, Cloud. To her ecstatic cries, her rapture.
No, you're wrong. He'd tell you that he only cares about the planet. That he'd do everything in his power to protect and preserve it.
We are to bear witness to the reunion when worlds merge.
The confluence of worlds.
And emotions. It engulfs fleeting moments of joy, transforming them into rage, sadness, hatred, loss, chief among them. In the planet's embrace, all life is as one.
Okay, probably gotta speed up a bit.
These errant worlds.
Oh, that was a little bit too loud.
So what happens when all of these worlds come back to the source as life stream black? All of this life stream energy, this collective unconscious now being tainted with despair and negative thoughts and emotions, those feelings that were supposed to be repressed and balanced, now overtaking. I believe Sephiroth is trying to merge all of these worlds back until the shadow self becomes the true self, or as I like to call it, the new self, in which Sephiroth will be at this nucleus of the planet. It is now the planet's will. It is now the planet's god. And all of the fragmented pieces of Genova from all those other worlds that were created will come together. Genova reborn. Sephiroth is the god of the planet, and this is what we get. The planet's new self, Sephiroth, at the center, projecting his persona onto the physical plane. A planet remade. Or reborn. Or some other synonym that part 3 might have.
I love this guy.
Sephiroth is actually saving the planet, just as he said in Remake Aerith.
Sorry, catching up on chat. If Fallness is the planet was watching closely over a long time while it was healing. The planet was watching closely. Right, absolutely, yeah. So it means that the will of the planet is something that was like already active, already had its, like the planet. And you know, we say that the planet has its own will and we imagine that it's like one person as in the planet, but it's essentially the collection of all the things that are within it, right? Which are probably the spirits of the Cetra. It almost sounds like one of those creatures on TV. Guys, I included a goal. I have no idea how. But it continue. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not going to send the super chat myself. This is going to be the craziest thing ever, but if it happens, we're going to play Guitar Live.
Set on the Midgar
I said a completely unrealistic one because I don't want to play, but let's see.
Expressway. But he is the antithesis of Final Fantasy VII's themes. He wants to break the cycle of life and death and create a forever that is unbound by fate. A world in which he can rule over as its god.
Okay, so it says a resurrected being who now wields unimaginable might and commands the arbiter of fate.
Ooh.
He seeks to pierce through the layers of existence and reunite fragmented space-time. He shall rule over the planet and create eternity. Like they're just dropping all the buzzwords in one.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Josh Z tossed 199 gil. Busted.
Going to enslave humanity.
It's amazing,
and force them
Josh.
to service my
Didn't know you were a
machines.
big fan of theirs.
In the universe, in the multiverse, and who knows? Attack the like button, equip the subscription, but most importantly, you take care now. And bye-bye.
Cheers. Cheers. I love this guy. I love this dude. I love the Warriors of Hype. So if I was to really just summarize what I want to explain or what I would like for them to consider. So first of all, thank you so much for this video. If you are watching, if they are watching this, Warriors of Hype, if you guys are watching this, thank you so much for actually doing the work and going and looking at Carl Jung's stuff from a holistic perspective and not just throwing around the term collective unconscious equals live stream, because that means absolutely nothing in a vacuum, right? In terms of the process you described of currently the planet had a ego, or you know, we had a version of events, sort of. There were repressed emotions, there were repressed worlds, there were repressed things within the planet's psyche. If we mirror what is happening with the actual human being or actual mind of a human being, and then that has been fractured due to Sephiroth's actions, and now the idea is that it needs to be merged again. This process is incredibly well described because we will see it again. The reunion will happen again, I think at the very least once. It might happen at the Northern Crater and it might happen again towards the end. The only thing is, I would have focused on Cloud instead of the planet. Not to say that the planet itself cannot be used. You know, this is a pod device, which I don't know the name of because I haven't studied right or whatever. But I am sure there is a name for it. So it's a plot device where probably you will look at... you will have something that works on two different layers. So this entire story the psyche being fractured, the reunion, finding the actual true self, the real version of event, which would be the true self, the real persona or personality, is something that can be applied to both the planet and Cloud. I absolutely agree. The only comment I have, and it might be just because I'm biased, my own perception of the story being much more about Cloud than anything else, is the following. I would love to see this applied to Cloud. Now, I will probably do it myself because I'm also kind of working on this angle. So this is not really just to say, this is wrong, so it only works if you do it. But I think that there is an opportunity there, which is, this close. I believe he was this close to figuring it out. Oops, sorry. He was this close to figuring it out, according to my own version of events. So maybe he was, a better way of saying it is, he was this close to join in exactly my thought process. Right? Because I don't want to say he was this close to figuring things out. It makes me sound as though I'm the one who wrote Final Fantasy VII, which it might seem like it at times, but I'm not. It's absolutely not me. Thank you so much for this video. This video is great. I really loved it. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to talk about this? So we still have about 1 hour 30, let's say. Do you want to talk about this in more detail? Do you want us to go and take the model of the psyche, this one, for example, and try to follow the logic of what I want to tell you, of what I'm trying to convey? Or would you like to watch the second video? I have a preference. I believe that watching the second video will probably have to be, because the video is already an hour long, right? And so now for a 17-minute video, we did what? We did, how much we did? 1 hour and a little bit more, so 1 hour, right? So multiplied by 3, so the 1 hour video could very easily become 3 hours stream. And I don't think we have time for that. My personal preference is that we run away now with this concept of the theory of the psyche, given that we have it very, very fresh. But if you guys want to watch the video, I will try to shut up and then present it, because this is yours as much as this space is yours, guys, as much as it is mine. And if you want to join the Discord, by the way, if you want to chat, it's not, I haven't set up as a community chat. We'll probably have to figure things out, but we could think about that. So whatever you guys want to do. So I will, hold on. Why is this not? How do you hide the, oh, okay. I'm not on Mac. Sorry, I completely messed it up. Should we bring in a little bit more of music? First of all, to begin with. Where's our good old VLC? Okay. I have plenty of music here. I believe this topic is the center of FF7R. I totally agree. Totally agree, Bunkei. What I will do is... Okay, sorry guys. I'm just trying to figure out how to add music to what is already there. I'm telling you guys know that this is the least professional stream all the time. It's gonna be. But maybe it becomes an edited version and then that, I don't know. Okay, let's bring in our music track to here. Does it need to be activated or something? Not that one. Oh my god, this is one of my favorite tracks of all time as well. This is the start of the Sephiroth video, right? But I'm gonna tone it down. We don't want any copyright strikes or whatever. Not from him, just from copyright flags from YouTube. I know TPR doesn't do that. Right, hopefully my sound is still good versus music. You guys let me know. It's the Mithril Mine Ancient Forex music. Thank you so much, Stoic, because I was struggling. I knew it was a dungeon. Oh my god, how did I forget it was the Mithril Mine? Oh my god. It was a very weird version, like it... Hold on, I gotta go back, man. I gotta go back to that, because it sounded very strange. There were times when it goes minor rather than going major.
Sir, I don't know. Balanced. And I believe that is what the planet is. Gaia is its own individual. It has a psyche. So to take a look at that a little bit more, let's talk about a little bit what we're seeing here. The self. Now, the self is what we all strive to achieve. It is perfect balance, right? Between the ego and the shadow.
Ta-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, rather than ti-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You see what I mean? Yeah, that's a terrible interpretation, but whatever. Okay. So I guess the Jung's model of the psyche. So let me look for a good graph, by the way. We're gonna use a good graph, right? Got it. We know. Insert a good old text box. We're gonna do that the old way. Okay, just leaving this here. We can use it later. Is this one good? Maybe this one is better. Oh, haha, I know what I should show you. What's it called? Individuation. Jung. The Hero's Journey chart. So this is not directly by Carl Jung's, in Carl Jung's work. This is something made by, I'm not sure if it's a person here, Uzanakyudo, is a cure for anxiety and arrogance. I wonder who that sounds like. Is this actually then, if I'm going to be talking a lot, I'm actually going to tone down the music or maybe even remove it altogether because, oh my god, because yeah, I don't want to have to struggle with that one cut and stuff. So this is by this person, and they are talking about the hero's journey. So how do I do this? The idea is that they are simply taking the same things that are portrayed in Carl Jung's work. And the hero's journey is obviously a pretty big thing within the archetypes of the collective unconscious within Carl Jung's work. And they are showing it in a more simplified way, right? So let me show you guys. You guys can already see a couple of buzzwords. I know we're going to go all crazy. So let me show you what this looks like. We have a good old hero. A good old normal person, I would say, right? At this point. What's going on with them? What is their problem? What's going on? What is happening is that they have call to adventure, right? Something calls out to them. Maybe a friend tells them, hey, let's go do something. Maybe they are doing a mission that they, you know, like it looks like a regular job, whatever. They meet a mentor, right? Let's make it an exercise. If we are applying this to Cloud, you guys can tell me what matches what. Call to adventure is what? They meet a mentor. They do what here? They cross a threshold. They cross a threshold. There is a point above which things change. I wonder again what that reminds us of. And then they have a helper, right? I imagine, or is it the personality of the helper? Anyways, they have trials and failure, rebirth, growth, and new skills. So there is a process of trying and failing and thinking and maybe having a little bit of arrogance and not understanding really what you're exactly, John. Thank you so much. Not understanding what your limits are. And so that leads to failure. Now you also learn new skills because this is literally a new journey. You learn new things about yourself and you still haven't known exactly what your limits are, but you are still learning new things. And this might lead you to being a little bit too overconfident. Now, what happens after that? So we have crossing threshold, number 1. The second big milestone is death. Plus what? Plus rebirth. What does that mean? It means that the persona or the ego you were adopting here, once you crossed into the unknown, has shown its limits. So what will happen is that you will have to witness the death of that old arrogant / complacent / maybe condescending at times version of yourself, so that you witness the rebirth of a new version. You can only do that once you have witnessed the death of your old self, of your old persona. Obviously, death here we're talking in very symbolic terms. Now, I believe the process of revelation goes either hand in hand or maybe even before, whatever. We haven't read the article. We are just using this as a base, right? There is a revelation. I wonder when we have a revelation about yourself that finally changes everything about who you are. It finally changes you. You realize what you are or what you are not. You realize what you should do. Now, what is it time for? Because you made some errors before, it is now time for atonement. It is now time for redemption. This is why when people say, "Oh, if it's called redemption, then all of a sudden we're all screaming Sephiroth redemption." I tell you what, if Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 is called redemption, it's perfectly in line with Cloud's redemption. Because Cloud is the one who makes the biggest mistake first and gives the black materia to Sephiroth. And he's the one who needs to redeem himself. The party and Cloud literally redeem themselves at the end of the OG. That's what happens. Gets gift from whom? Is the planet going to save us or not? Does the planet care about humanity enough to save them? Did you show enough with your atonement? Did you show a willingness to change? Did you show that you deserved the gift that you will get? And what happens after all of that? You return changed. So you, and the end. You start a journey, call to adventure, meeting a mentor. I don't know who we can assign that to for Cloud. Sephiroth, probably. You cross a threshold, and then things just get crazy. There is the death of your old self, the rebirth of a new self. There is a revelation about yourself that finally allows you to understand what you need to do, atone for your sins, get a gift because you atone for your sins, and then return changed. Please tell me, please explain to me how this does not follow exactly Cloud's journey. Now, this is the hero's journey, something that applies literally to probably almost every hero in storytelling, and especially in fiction, especially in Japanese tropes. I am very much aware of that. But the thing is, this is largely rooted in Carl Jung's work. Coming back to this, what's the person saying? They are trying to explain the term individuation. So what is individuation then, is what we are asking. Simply as possible. Carl Jung explains, by it I mean the psychological process that makes of a human being an individual, a unique and indivisible unit or whole man. This is literally the merging of fractured aspects of someone. Now, again, you tell me if you don't think that this applies perfectly to Cloud. This is why collective unconscious is one thing, one but a small thing. The entire work of Carl Jung is about finding your true self and becoming one true version, one entire whole version of yourself. Let me actually see all the messages because I'm not seeing everything. Yeah, there you go. Right? So now this is probably a good bridge to actually talking about what Carl Jung's process is. And let's see if we have a good chart for this. Again, guys, totally full disclosure, I have not studied this. I don't have a degree in this. I am merely trying to learn as we go and trying to learn it for the process of understanding the story, the overall story being told in Final Fantasy VII. So I might make mistakes. If I do, please correct me. If someone more knowledgeable is there, please jump in. Please, I would love to have you over and we talk about this because this is really, I believe, how we will be able to understand it more. No, I do believe this is a bit too simplistic. I think this was nice, right? So let's go to this one, guys. So what does Carl Jung actually tell us, right? Now we start. It's going to become a bit boring, but Carl Jung's theory of the psyche, I'm just going to leave that there. So what Carl Jung tells us is that over the course of your lifetime, so first of all, what Carl Jung tells you is that you are born as a whole person. You are born totally integrated within yourself. So yourself, which is the true nucleus of who you are, and your ego, which is who you portray on the outside to the physical world and society. There is a threshold here, which is the beginning of your unconscious. The self that is within your unconscious and encompasses everything is totally connected and integrated with your ego at the beginning of your life. Now, as you grow old, you grow up, not necessarily old. As you grow up older, there are things that change within your perception of life and things, right? So what happens is that you have experiences, you have emotions, you have failures, you have wins and whatever that will actually start changing and modifying how close your ego is to your true self. What does that mean? Your experiences as you grow up start creating a gap between who you truly are with all your repressed emotions and experiences and whatnot, and successes and failures and dreams and hopes and memories and whatever, versus who you portray on the outside. So the older you grow, the more gap there is between who you are and who you portray on the outside. With Cloud, we start already the Final Fantasy VII story with a complete breakdown in who he is in true reality, in true fashion. Big, 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 huge spoilers, by the way, for anyone who did not realize it before. But it is, if you haven't played the OG and you don't know what the biggest plot twist is Final Fantasy VII, I'm probably about to say it. So I'm trying not to, because you can still tell things without spoiling it, but it could still happen. There is a gap created between Cloud's personality that he shows on the outside and who he is, right? Now listen up. What Carl Jung tells you is your journey as a human being necessarily goes through integrating everything that is circling in your unconscious and around your true self within your conscious ego. What does that mean? It means that your repressed emotions, memories, hopes, dreams, whatever, you should dive into them, acknowledge them, understand what they're trying to tell you so that they feed into your ego. Carl Jung tells you that if you don't do this work, you will always suffer. I'm not talking about myself. I'm not talking from this is not my opinion. I'm just paraphrasing what I believe Carl Jung's work was trying to explain. If you do not go ahead and try to understand what is buried deep within your unconscious and the messages it's trying to send you, you will forever be lost. Why will you be lost? Because there is an internal struggle inside of you that is never ending and that needs to be addressed. Because your psyche knows that what you are portraying is in complete disconnect versus who you truly are, versus the dreams you have, versus the repressed emotions, your repressed feelings, maybe versus what you should do, because there is a certain understanding of who you should be and ideally who you should strive to be, and it tries to correct that. Unfortunately, we are both unaware of this because on a surface level, the ego that you portray on the outside is not something that is able to understand your unconscious. It lives on the conscious side. It lives on the surface. So this is the waking consciousness you have. Let's call it that way, right? When I am awake, when I am alive during the day, I am not thinking about my unconscious. I'm not diving into my unconscious. I don't know how my unconscious thinks. What are the things that that's why they're called unconscious, because I'm not conscious of them, right? And that is the persona. So persona more or less equals ego. I know that here it's probably differentiated. I don't, to be totally honest, I don't know enough about Carl Jung, nearly enough to tell you this is exactly how they're different. So they're probably the same, in my opinion. And you have your ego. So what happens is your unconscious constantly sends you messages. This is the key to understanding what's happening here, right? Your unconscious, look how we have differentiation between personal unconscious, complexes, and collective unconscious. And we will talk about the two in a minute. So if you want to integrate everything into yourself, into your mind, what happens is that your unconscious will start sending you messages, which, as I said, first of all, you don't necessarily understand because you are conscious. You are not experiencing your unconscious on a conscious level, if that makes any sense. Persona, I thought this was Final Fantasy. Oh, pure good seed. Yeah, thank you, Cam. Yeah, I mean, listen, we talk about literally everything when it comes to Final Fantasy. So you might fall upon Persona, other games, but obviously, we're talking about the young Persona. And by the way, I heard of that Carl Jung is pretty prominent in Persona, right? Hey, Matt, nice to have you on board. Yeah, thanks for joining. It's great to have you guys. Um, I haven't played Persona, so please no spoilers, but I've heard that they're pretty big on Carl Jung, so I would love to check it out one day. So, what we need to understand is that the unconscious sending us messages, as I said. First of all, we don't see them on a conscious level. And secondly, it's very in a destabilizing way. Yeah, is that the word? It destabilizes you. It is a very difficult process because you are not attuned or in tune with your unconscious. You don't understand it. You don't dive nearly enough into it because remember, you have been separated from it. So Cloud at the moment, when he sees something from the live stream, what is his first reaction? He's like, yeah, but where's Sephiroth? This is literally what Cloud does. Whenever he gets a message from the live stream to his mind, he's like, is Sephiroth here? Where is Sephiroth? This is literally what happened in the forest. Like, this guy, you need to find your true personality, Cloud. We have just literally transported a white materia so that you go back to the real world and you stop living in this illusory world. But he's like, yes, but Sephiroth is here. Because the guy has completely been disconnected from his true self and is now just following a literal shadow. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So your subconscious, your unconscious, to be precise, is trying to send you things. We will talk about what's the most efficient way for the unconscious to communicate repressed feelings and emotions with you in a minute. However, before that, you have our shadow. So the shadow is essentially, first of all, you can see that it's in the unconscious, right? Your shadow is not something you are aware of either on a conscious level. However, it's something you can encounter in your life. So the shadow is essentially everything that mirrors the ego and is the opposite of what you think you are or what you think you want to be on a conscious level. This is why you will see here that the shadow literally mirrors the ego on a conscious versus unconscious level. So the shadow, you can think about it as everything that you don't want to be or you don't identify with on a conscious level. The problem or the nuance is that shadow being something you don't identify with on a conscious level does not necessarily mean that it's bad. This is why this is one of the big misconceptions that the shadow is necessarily something bad. Not necessarily. The shadow is basically just things that go against what you feel or what you portray on an ego, persona, external, conscious level. Now, that shadow could totally have things which are completely going against that positive because the way you are going on your conscious ego, persona, external life is completely messed up. Once again, I wonder, who does that remind us of? John, you're saying he wasn't chasing Sephiroth, I was being summoned by him. That's exactly it. And we'll get to that in a minute, by the way. So you have your shadow. First of all, yourself. So remember, what is happening is that yourself is almost communicating with you. I remember who has been hearing a little version of themselves talking to themselves. Yourself is something that is atemporal in the sense that it does not exist just within the age that you are now. Yourself could be your 10 years older version or 10 years younger version appearing in a vision or a dream or whatever and talking to you. It could be 13-year-old Cloud. It could be 45-year-old Glenn, which is Cloud in 20 years. I'm just throwing that out there. But it's basically a version of your, like the true entire whole version of yourself that is trying to resurface. So we have someone who is completely oblivious to what is happening beneath the surface, right? Now you guys might ask me, well, how does it concretely happen? Like, okay, all of this is theoretically fine. Your consciousness experiences things on an ego, shadow, persona level, blah 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 blah. Yourself tries to bring you back together and merge your ego with yourself. Now, how does that happen technically? Because now all of it is abstract. According to Carl Jung, and this is one of the biggest things he has added to psychology, as far as I understand, again, based on my completely, I would say, not going to say uninformed, but based on what I understood. One of the biggest additions he has brought is the concept of dreams being the biggest tool used by your unconscious to communicate with you. What does that mean? That means that yourself, the only moment it has your attention is the moment you're dreaming. Does that make sense? Because when you dream, guys, you sleep, right? And you remember your dreams. So you are sleeping. So technically, you are within your unconscious. You are not conscious because you're sleeping, right? However, there is some sort of consciousness of that unconscious. So when you sleep, you understand that you're dreaming, and you, well, not always, but when you wake up, you knew that you were dreaming. So unconscious memories, memories of unconscious events resurface to your conscious when you wake up. So this is almost like a white materia traveling between a dream and a world, and a real world. So you have an external physical world which is here, right? And then you sleep and you are unconscious. However, you wake up and you have memories of things that have not happened on a conscious level. So where do those memories come from? They come from dreams. And dreams are an unconscious process. So what is going on there? This is exactly how the self communicates with you. It is trying to send you messages through your unconscious to explain to you either what you are repressing, or to balance a completely extreme behavior that you're doing on the external, on the outside, or to answer doubts that you have on yourself that you, for example, you don't know what to, you don't know what to, um, you don't know which decision to make. I'm joking because my wife has been asking me to play this riff for her. And I just put up this goal, and she said, "Play Thank You for the Venom." I swear I will try, baby. I play Thank You for the Venom today at like 50% speed or like 40% speed. So I have like a month or so, or even less than a month, 2 months or 2 weeks or whatever, to play it at 100% speed. And I don't even know whether that's gonna happen. Thank You for the Venom is a My Chemical Romance song, by the way, guys. My wife is a pretty big fan of My Chemical Romance, and she went and saw them live in the Black Parade tour last year in Toronto. Quick break before I go back on the chat. I wasn't chasing Sever. Yeah, we read that. When Cloud looks at the black materia in the final scene in Rebirth, he mutters reunion, not Sephiroth. I think that's an important distinction. Can you elaborate a bit more, Bunke? Perhaps it better reads as I wasn't chasing Sephiroth. I was being summoned by Genova. Totally. That's a very good point, by the way. You know what I think that explains? It basically represents the fact that when Cloud sees the black materia, he's essentially devoid even of his obsession with Sephiroth. Because remember, when he gets the black materia at the end of Rebirth in what is it, chapter 13, what he does is that he goes and he literally just gives in to Sephiroth. He's not obsessed with killing him anymore. This is not the Cloud who wants to kill him. This is the Cloud who is just literally a Genova puppet. So I totally agree with you, Bunke. When Cloud is close to the black materia, his brain completely shuts off, which explains why we believe that Genova is a much bigger influence than Sephiroth, right? When it comes to that, I will actually remove the headset a bit because it's a bit too, and I'm not listening to anything. It's a bit too much. So where were we? We're saying that you have an unconscious process, which is your dreams, and you bring back conscious memories from it. And this, my friends, is exactly how yourself makes sure that your ego and the gap that has been created will shrink, right? So self-ego gap, what's it called? Jung. Can we see it here? Can we see a diagram? Hey, there you go. This is a great one. There you go. So just that you guys figure out, I'm not creating, I'm not inventing stuff. This is like literal stuff that Carl Jung, our good old psychologist, has. Sorry for the quality. I know it's terrible, but it is what it is. So look at this. What we were saying is that at the beginning, it's more or less close, right? Your ego and yourself are more or less integrated against each other. So what happens is that you have your depression, alienation, and your ego kind of breaks away from yourself. The personality you embody on the outside starts becoming very different to who you are. Now, if you are healthy, if you are healthy, you have a more or less continuous relationship with yourself. So obviously your ego will never be within yourself. This is not the objective. The objective is just that the connection is not broken. And so the way the connection is made by the self, it's enforced by the self through dreams. There's also active imagination, which apparently is something that you can use, which is a form of meditation that Carl Jung has advocated for, or maybe even created himself. It's a bit different than regular meditation. But by far, I believe the biggest thing is dreams, is to sit down, write down your dreams. When you wake up, try to understand the symbolism behind them. And I will talk about symbolism in a minute. And the ultimate objective, the process of individuation, is the ego self loop becoming whole. What this means is that you are feeding from yourself. Your soul is whole because the disconnect that was there between your ego and yourself is not there anymore. And this line here is continuous and keeps what even circular because you keep feeding back and into it, right? So you see something in a dream. Yourself communicates something to you in a dream. How do you interpret that? Thing is, because we are in the unconscious, it is not able to formulate ideas on the same level as the conscious. So, for example, if your unconscious wants to tell you that a person has died, for example, let's imagine you repress. I wonder what I'm talking about. I'm trying to keep it like, yeah. So if you have repressed a certain event, right, and yourself or your unconscious communicates that event to you, what will happen is that they will not show you that event exactly as it is. They will not just replay the same event the way it was portrayed in real life in the external memory deposit that you have. What it will do is that it will disguise it in symbols. And it is not by choice, because we're talking about things that are very abstract, that don't have like a will of their own, right? We're talking about the unconscious, which is a completely abstract concept to begin with. So the unconscious is only able to formulate the idea to you that this person, that this event has been repressed from your mind, and to remind you of it by showing it to you as a symbol. So let's imagine, for example, that, Carl Jung in his books really references a lot of dreams that have been made by his patients, in which he has explained and they have analyzed it on a very individual and collective level to understand what the dream and symbols within it mean, to be able to explain to the individual what their unconscious is trying to tell them, right? What happens is that, for example, you have, let's put it that way. Let's imagine that a person died a certain way. Let's imagine that a person died by being shot down by a group of people, a group of troopers, of something, of some kind of force that reigns over the world and drains some kind of energy within it. What happens is that your unconscious is not able to show you that picture directly, because it is, you are within your unconscious. I know that this concept is abstract. I'm sorry, guys. Stop me if I'm wrong. By the way, if you have questions, guys, just let me know. Starting to talk like a pure scholar here or whatever. Oh my God, kind of have to take a step back so that I don't sound like a scholar. But again, this is based on my modest knowledge. What happens is that your unconscious will not show you that exact event that way. You see what I mean? It will disguise it in a way. So what it could do, for example, is that it will take that person. It will put them in a completely, so it could take that person and symbolize them differently. So for example, the person that you know have died by being shot by a group of troopers, it could be disguised as something else. Maybe they were a very nice and important person to you, so they might disguise it as a dog. Why dogs? Because dogs are loyal. Or maybe it could be even a lion, because lions are very strong, very well, at least on a, I know it's a very controversial kind of thing, because lions are portrayed as the kings of the jungle when they don't do shit, to be totally honest. Anyways, an elephant, very intelligent. Maybe this person was very intelligent. So what the unconscious is going to do is they're going to show you an elephant standing on a cliff and being attacked by a group of elephants who literally lift rocks from the ground and throw it with their trompe. What is trompe? I don't want to say trompe. Whatever, the body anatomy of elephants. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't know the word in English. So do you see what I mean? The unconscious will not show you actually your friend, which you thought was always very intelligent, die in the exact same way that you repressed that emotion or that memory. They will actually show you something that is very symbolic of that. And the problem with that is that because it's an unconscious process, you will not be able to remember that happened when you wake up to begin with. So this is why, according to Carl Jung, it's a very, very difficult, very, very serious kind of work that you need to do, which is when you wake up, first of all, sorry for the mic noise, you need to start writing down your dreams. You need to start validating symbols, and you need to portray them exactly how they were, by the way. And you need to hold any judgment against them for a while. If you don't know what this is supposed to represent, like on a very straightforward way, what you will do is that you will just wait. You will wait and wait and wait, just keep noting, and then your unconscious will keep sending back that message to you because it really wants to reach out. It really wants to show you that message. And eventually, you need to think about some specific events in your life. You need to start reflecting on your life, on maybe things that you have repressed, on maybe what is the kind of setting where there was a person. What does the elephant represent compared to all? Why is it an elephant specifically, right? And so maybe you start thinking and you're like, well, elephants are the biggest or one of the biggest animals in the jungle, whatever. Well, did I know someone with those characteristics compared to, or maybe they are the most intelligent? And then you're like, well, hold on, we are, again, go with the assumption that you don't know. You have repressed the event, so you don't really remember what happened. Okay? I made this part way too long. So, you have understood some sort of symbolism of what your dreams send you, right? What I want you to do, guys, is to tell me whether you think this aligns with this or not.
Hey,
First of all,
there?
what I'd like you to do, guys, as a thought experiment is, when we get here,
No. The medical team has seen him.
I'm toning down the volume on purpose because I don't want it to be too loud. So, do not think of this sequence as parallel. Okay? These are dreams, right? We don't know who's dreaming this for now. Do not think of them as parallel. Think of them as sequential. Think of them as the ending of one leads to the beginning of the other. And let's try to go ahead with that thought process.
Where Hojo should be, along with the cure for Cloud. To the left, reactor 6. Which will be blown up along with Biggs unless I stop him.
By the way, context, Cloud just gave the black material to Sephiroth at the Temple of the Ancients, and he fell with Aerith into the void. In the void. Okay, what is going on here? We remember what he said, what was said to him, right? Blah, 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 blah. What did he choose? He chose to go save Cloud. Overall, this is the choice. Where do we go next, then? We go to find where Cloud is, because he has just lost himself, giving the black material to Sephiroth. Right? And I will punctuate this with a screenshot at the end. Look at this guy. Our consciousness, we will go straight into Cloud. He is now different. All of a sudden, this is a different person. He's acting differently. He's not Mako poisoned anymore. This guy had Mako poisoning. But once we zoom into him, he's all of a sudden sane. How many of us guys missed the transition, right?
What is this?
So did we actually go and save Cloud? Possibly. It could be just a coincidence, so let's keep going. Call it a homecoming, blah, 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 blah. Now, in theory, whenever we look to the sky and we see a rift, what could that indicate? In my opinion, it indicates that this world is ending, or this dream is ending, or there is something unreliable about what we're experiencing. If you look at it at the end of Rebirth, what does the rift that Cloud sees at the end of Rebirth indicate? It indicates that the reality he lives in is different to the one that his friends live in. So it indicates that he is in an unreliable world. Does that make sense? So notice what happened here. She tells him, don't look up. He looks up, and all of a sudden, as soon as we look up to the sky, it's gone. We have realized that we are in an unreliable reality. Think of this as a sequence. Think of someone watching these dreams. You are not the guy who is walking. Just watch the dream and make of it a process. Well, we're back here, but hold on.
Hey, let's check it out.
It gets better. Okay. What is the So, let's go back to... Thanks, The Wake. I've been dying to talk about this for too long, and I want to make a full, 2-hour video about it, but it's very hard. And Warriors of Hype's video here has been insanely relevant to this. I think it's the perfect timing. So, one thing what I want you once again, guys, to do Take what we learned from Carl Jung about 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago. Remember how you're unconscious when it's showing you a dream? This is clearly a dream. This is not real, right? What is happening here is not real. We don't know where it is. Planet's dream, cloud's dream, whatever the hell is going on. So take this dream and apply the logic of symbolism behind it. If this dream is your unconscious trying to send you a message through symbols, what could that symbol be? Remember, your unconscious, when it wants to send you a message, it will keep repeating it, right?
Which one do you want?
Me, actually.
Everything is
What are you picking from? You're picking from plushy Zach. You're picking from bracelets. You're picking from blah, 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 whatever. So what are they called? The gold bracelet, stamp figurine, and the pink hair clip. Amazing. Cool. Let's go.
That one. I'm so sorry. I did everything.
First, symbolism. I meant everything but that one. Again, I know people interpret this as meta. And it might be. But let's just forget about the meta for a second, shall we? Let's not think that the game is specifically for OG fans. Because this could be meta commentary, but it has to serve the process of a character living it. If this does not mean anything to Cloud and Aerith, I'm not saying that it's their date or whatever. If this message, if this owner saying this only speaks to the player and does not speak to Cloud or Aerith or anyone experiencing this, it does not make sense to be included here. The story is experienced by characters. The player is looking at it from the outside and the writer kind of looks up and says, huh, get that? But the story is still told for the characters. The character is experiencing the story. A dialogue of an NPC is first of all supposed to be understood by a character and to have implications and consequences for said character before we even talk about meta commentary for the player, right? Okay, so let's forget about meta commentary.
That one.
First symbolism is
Think you'll love.
Actually, pretty.
you don't take this. You can't choose. I will give you this instead, all right? So can you choose? Do you have a choice to make? No, not really. What are the choices that we are kind of confronted with here? Let's see. So that's the first one. Okay, hold the hands, blah, blah, blah. We know this is all Zach, the Aerith and Zach's dick, whatever. Second set of choices.
It's your lucky day, you two.
Again, you're choosing, it doesn't matter. My latest creation is what, again, yes, meta commentary might be there, but it's a nice to have. It is not the basis of the scene. The scene was not made just for meta commentary. Otherwise, the game makes no sense. Otherwise, you're just the player experiencing the story. Otherwise, Cloud is literally devoid of all importance in the story, and the story is just for players. Unfortunately, this is what some of us have been doing the last few years, is that we have completely removed the experiences of characters. So when we see something like Red 13, the vision of Red 13 and the Define Fate and whatnot, we're like, well, it just naturally means define the fate of the OG. Well, maybe, but that could be the meta commentary that is, you're supposed to understand it as a player, and it's definitely intended. I'm not saying it's not intentional, and it's there, and it's valid. But that is the second layer. The first layer is, what does Define Fate mean for the characters? Right? This is just on a, I don't want to open that bracket. Stoic, I know you're here. I know you're going to hate this. I'm sorry, dude. But yeah.
Really?
The second meaning is even worse, because not only you don't get to choose, but the choice is not something you're going to like.
Hurrah. Guess I pulled out one too many.
One too
just
many.
needs a little sugar, maybe.
Ah, make it sweeter.
Whatever's making my tongue tingle.
Yeah. Very obvious connection to Aerith's death, by the way, right?
Am I right?
We look up at the sky again, and oh, the rift! Which means this is not real. Let's try to go back to the real world. Okay, how do we go back to the real world? So, remember, how is Terrier created? And we might need a chart for worlds here, right? The Terrier world, what is the one event that changes the Beagle nature to the Terrier? I want you guys to answer this first, because I want to beg the question. What is the one event? If you were to separate Beagle from Terrier, what is the one difference? Not in terms of consequence. What is the one event that led to Terrier being different from Beagle? Can you guys let me know what you think it is in the chat? I do love the meta implications, but yeah, I agree. This is meant for story purposes. Layers is a good way of describing this. Absolutely stoic. It's not exclusively meta. That would just be cheeky, exactly. And when we think about what's the point, like a lot of people say, what's the point? What's the point? I think this is the biggest what's the point question. It's like, if this is all meta, what's the freaking point for the characters? Right? Tongue tingle, eyes burning. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the answers about Terrier being different to Beagle. What is the one event that changed Beagle, that differentiates Beagle from Terrier in its origin? Right? The one divergent point. I totally agree, Stoic. No, sorry. I'm not saying this because you love the meta. I am saying this because I was saying Define Fate and whatnot. And I was saying that Define Fate does not necessarily mean just undoing the OG. It could mean potentially that for meta, as meta for players. But what I wanted to say is that I just used that example to say the characters can also experience Define Fate, and we need to understand then what Fate means for characters who have not experienced the OG yet, because they are characters just going through these events. They are going with the assumption that they have experienced them. Like Cloud, for example, they're seeing visions. Sephiroth, Aerith, and whatnot are having a bit more of a, like, have a bit more power. Oh my god, what did I do? But it's they're not necessarily re-experiencing it, right?
You know, how about
So this is why I said sorry, because you know it kind of goes a different way, because I went a bit aggressive. I realized that. Any answers? Are you guys too scared? I need answers. Blech. What chapter does it appear, by the way? The explosion. Yes, Bunke. But so this means that I might have misphrased my question. Oh my god, why did I show that? Okay. I might have misphrased my my question then based on that, right? So what I meant is not in terms like what's the divergent path in terms of memories. So if we were to sit here and to describe the memories of the Beagle world versus the memories of the Terrier world, what would be the difference between them? And I'm spoiling the answer, but why can't I find a video? Why is it just a short? What the hell is going on? What's the Cosmo Canyon chapter? Yes, Josh, absolutely. It is, Zach. You could argue Biggs, but Biggs being saved does not lead to the creation of the world. You see what I mean? So it is Zach. There you go. It's this one. Okay, just reach level 2. This is the single most defining event in the creation of the Terrier world. Yes, because it happens before the explosion. Thank you so much, Bunke. Because things are happening possibly at the same time, but you know, that is a very far thing to go through. Very big thing to go through. This is the single most important defining element out of Beagle and Terrier being different. So if we were to strip them down to that most fundamental level, Terrier and Beagle are different because Zack survives and brings Cloud back to Midgard with him. Right? Okay, now let's go back to where we were. Why am I even bringing this up? Because while being here, our soul experiencing this has realized, if only we had more time. Hey, there is something weird going on. There is a rift. So let's go back to the last reliable memory we have. This is why, friends, I tell you, I ask that for this thought process specifically, let's look at sequentially, not in parallel. Our mind has realized that there is something wrong because the choices, the vendors have been telling us, nah, this is not the real version of events. There's something wrong. You don't get to choose this world. You see what I mean? okay, we don't get to choose this world, so this is not quite right. So what we're gonna do, we're going to go back to the last reliable thing we have so far, which is what? The last choice we had to make. Remember, worlds are created through choices. We had two paths created. Now let's go back to the path that we experienced before, maybe, where things were still making sense to an extent. And what is that? It's going back to Terrier, where Zack was on his way to save Cloud. Do you understand how it's sequential now, guys? Our mind experience in this is going back to the last decision that was made
Sure, I only asked to meet with Professor Hojo.
to see if it makes sense.
Not a whole platoon.
Here's the catch. If we were to apply Carl Jung's thoughts about the unconscious giving you symbolism about what happened in your repressed psyche, how would we interpret this? It's not exactly the same scene. It is not in the edge of at the edge of Midgar. It is not with a Zack has a motorcycle. He didn't have a motorcycle. There aren't helicopters around. But does it convey the same message? Absolutely, it does. It conveys the death of Zack in this specific moment.
The world's about to end anyway.
The world's about to end anyway.
And everything to gain.
So what does the end of this message, by the way, this is exactly what happens with Cloud in chapter 18 of Remake. Chapter 17, 18. FF7 Remake. Nope. Sorry. I'm thinking one thing and writing the other. Look at this. Blah, 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 blah. Where's the motorcycle thing? Motorcycle escape. Right? Look at this, guys. Please look at this and tell me they're not connected. Please look at this and tell me they're not connected. John, Ron, and Bunkei know this very well. Stoic. I don't know if we've spoken about this before. Look is gonna appear. A wild cloud appears on a Daytona motorcycle. The Daytona motorcycle is the really good looking one, right? Where is he standing? In the first floor of the Shinra building. Okay, he's gonna go. They're gonna stand there and do like the funny pose and the funny dialogue and whatever. Oh. Now look at this. Now look at this. You saw that?
World's about to end anyway. Got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Are you guys telling me there is no chance that these two scenes are supposed to be memories that are lost somewhere? A dream that is trying to piece things together, that is trying to convey something to you? It's the literal same thing. And by the way, I'm just going to replay it again, by the way, huh?
Pretty sure I only asked to meet with Professor Hojo. Not a whole platoon.
I'm starting to yell, right? I gotta chill.
Whatever. The world's about to end anyway.
And you know why we have this? I'm gonna tell you why the connection is there. Why I think the connection is there. Zack's version. Cloud's version. Just as a reminder once again that it's the same thing. Okay? Do you know why they are connected? It's because you have these troopers. So you have this. So this is a memory. So in Cloud's mind, this memory was created, right? Because he experienced this in the Shinra building. However, we have 15, whatever, 20 troopers, whatever, 4 or 5, I don't know. We have more than one trooper shooting at us. The brain has memory. The brain is fractured. The mind is fractured. And it's like, hold on. Where else did we have many? Like, I don't know anymore where we had many troops shooting at us. So it's like, it basically juxtaposes, it puts one memory on top of another setting. They shouldn't match, but it's trying to tell you something through that. It's trying to, so your mind went back to, oh, maybe I am Zack and I survived and I came back to Midgar. But now it's like, hold on. That's not quite right, because these troopers are now, they are shooting at me. So this reminds me of the fact that this guy is supposed to be dead. So what's gonna happen next? I'm excited to tell you what's gonna happen next. Big surprise, immense surprise. Something we haven't seen at all in these dreams. We go back to the other paths. These two paths are sequential. We are trying to figure out where we are or who we are. We're like, oh, hold on. Am I Cloud? How did I go back to Midgar? Did I go back to Midgar this way? Okay. Oh, okay. So now I woke up and I'm in Chihuahua and I'm having this date. Hold on. But there's a rift in the sky. So hold on. No, let me go back. I was Zack in the other dream. So I am Zack. I need to go and save Cloud. But hold on. Zack died this exact same way. All right. Well, I need to go back. I know that I've been already over this. So I need to go back to the other path. There is the only way I can figure out what's going on. But now, our good old friend is following us, because wherever Cloud's consciousness is, Sephiroth can't follow it.
So this is where you've been hiding, in a world that has accepted its fate.
Hey, what's that?
Let's go see.
Just
Do you guys realize how different this Cloud is to the one that we have been playing as?
you've been hiding.
First big detail is, where is this guy's Buster Sword?
What's that?
He doesn't have it. What does the Buster Sword imply for Cloud? If Cloud has a Buster Sword, it means that Zack didn't die. Yeah, it means that Zack didn't die. It means that... Hold on, I'm getting lost in my thoughts here. If Cloud doesn't have... Yeah, so if Cloud doesn't have the Buster Sword, it means that he is not the soldier with the Buster Sword who came back into Midgar. Does that make sense? No, it's not Zack's live stream sequence, Stoic. It's Cloud's live stream sequence. Please don't go to the wrong conclusion based on all the logic that I've been trying to build. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it. I'm joking. Because this is not Zack.
Platoon.
And I'm gonna show you why it's not Zack in a minute. We'll go back. Just remind me to go back to that.
Hey,
Accepted its fate, world that should die, whatever, translation. The personality of this Cloud is way different than the soldier we've been playing as, because he hasn't been a soldier. Cloud embodies that demeanor because he thinks he's a soldier. You see what I mean? He thinks he's been a soldier. So it's like, my memories are based on the fact that I was in Shinra and I did this and I did that and I confronted Sephiroth as a soldier in Nibelheim. So this is what I should behave like. It's the mind, it's your ego. Cloud being a soldier is literally... So this is Cloud being a soldier. Should I need to draw it? Do I guys need to draw it? I don't want to have to draw it, but anyways. Soldier Cloud is exactly who this is. Does this make sense? Can you guys let me know if it makes sense? Please, thank you. Right? What is going on is that we are looking for the real Cloud. Where is he? He is lost inside Cloud's subconscious, unconscious. What is Soldier Cloud? Where is Soldier Cloud located? Where do we see the Beagle personality? Who else has a Beagle in their story? Okay.
that.
We'll go back to that.
Let's go see.
Just as you must.
Pay attention to the fact that Cloud doesn't feel Sephiroth's presence there. This is because it's possibly the real Cloud. This is why before I was asking, who do you think this Cloud is? Look at this smile. Is this a smile of Soldier Cloud? Absolutely not. This is as close as possible to the real Cloud. Okay? He is back to his true self. Somewhat. Not his true self. Which is why this whole sequence of dreams is about finding what really happened. No, a very interesting thing happens here, by the way. I'm gonna stop yelling, I swear. But pay attention to this. One shot left. Again, we're back to decisions. One chance.
Okay, how about you all pose? Cutest looking couple gets their photo taken.
Yeah.
Okay, you two.
Pay attention. Does the photographer take the picture here or not? He does take the picture, right? Smile real big for the camera now. He is literally taking the picture. But there's something wrong with this. This is not quite right. This did not happen. This is not a real sequence. This is not where I should be. So where do we go? We go back to the initial branch of decisions. Maybe I am Zach. Bunke, one of your comments was marked as offensive. I don't know. I just removed the ban on it. I don't know why they did it. I go back to, okay, so there's something wrong with this. I don't know. Maybe this pose is not the right one. Maybe I never had this kind of pose with Aerith. Or maybe I saw a stamp here, which is like, okay, this is my unconscious self. Do you guys think it's complete coincidence that this stamp poster is here with what looks like a Zack carrying what looks like an unconscious Cloud? Absolutely not. Okay? So something's wrong here. Let's go back to where we really started all this sequence. Zack's choice. I decide to go help Cloud, but what happened there? I die by the hand of troopers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back one step and go to the opposite way. The other decision was what?
Hold on, Biggs. I'm coming.
Who am I? Is literally what this sequence of dreams is. Am I the one who went to save Biggs? Am I the one who say? Am I Zack who came back into Midgar and went to save Cloud? Who am I? Literally is what this whole thing means. No live stream. Sorry, no Mako, because live stream is a completely different thing. No Mako.
What gives? Reactor busted? Seems it's all out.
This is the only dog that I haven't figured out yet. Yeah, so I figured this one and the number 7. I figured out what the designs of the others could look like, but I haven't figured this one out yet. Stoic, thank you. I'm getting embarrassed now.
What gives? Reactor busted?
Not embarrassed, but I'm like,
It's all out of Mako.
oh.
I'm still sucking away, but the only thing it's pulling up is dirt. Meaning that the live stream's bone dry.
I'm just gonna edit this one.
Reactor,
right?
problem on. Glad's done either way. And so are we.
Also, what does Biggs represent, guys? Why do we need to save Biggs?
That is? Mom barely made it through testing. Figures it'd fail for real. What
Do you
am I
guys think
still
this is really Biggs?
doing here? Why did I have to
Well, I'm gonna ask some things then.
survive? Look at me. I'm useless. Can't even
Why did I have to survive? Survival guilt. Survivor guilt, right?
make it.
Who else suffers from survivor guilt? Again, go back to the to the dream trying to use symbols to communicate something to you. You guys understand? Your unconscious is trying to tell you. Your unconscious tells you in a face value way why you're talking to someone and they tell you back, "Why did I survive? I'm useless."
Damn bomb.
Who could be wondering why they survived? What purpose could the dream, what purpose could the unconscious be using Biggs for?
You're not useless.
Is there anyone else who could be wondering why they survived and everyone else didn't? From Nibelheim specifically.
For a moment there, I thought my life was
Exactly.
over,
Okay.
but it doesn't mean shit.
But you're not allowed to answer. I'm joking because you know the answers.
You're wrong. Wanna know why? 'Cause you mean a lot.
However, we have a Zack persona inside of us that keeps us going. No, yes, you survived and others didn't, but you mean a lot to a lot of people. Who is this conversation for? Who benefits the most from hearing these words at this exact moment when Cloud has just given the black materia to Sephiroth? Yuffie?
To a lot of people. So come on then.
God.
Thanks, but why are you here? Yeah, about that. Never mind. I know. Kinda obvious now. Think about it. The world may be ending and all, but the bombing's still a bombing. That's part of it too. But mostly, I was worried about you. That bleeding heart. It'll get you killed. I don't know. I wanted to take action.
I wanted to take action. I want to take back my life. I'm stuck in a loop where I am lost in a maze. And I can't find a way. Every step I take, I am more lost. So basically that's what Iris tells in chapter 17 of Remake, right?
Take charge.
I wanted to take charge.
To know that I had choice. That this path,
To know that I had a choice. Who was making choices in Sector 5? Who was making choices in Sector 5?
this world was one I chose. I wanted to take
Yeah, Bunkei, I'll get to that. You can get to that, but like, yeah, you can expand on it.
to take back my life.
I wanted to reclaim my life. Who is looking to reclaim their lives now, guys? So the whole exchange between Biggs and Zack now, who does it serve? If you take it as symbolism, because this is a dream. Remember, we've established that none of this is real. It's just a dream. The planet's dream, Cloud's dream, it doesn't matter. Who benefits the most from here at this moment in time? And I know this is kind of begging the question. I am begging the question, I know. Because I started with we're applying the model to Cloud to begin with, right? Take back my life. What's the counterpoint of your unconscious to that? Dude, you can't. Biggs always dies. Because you can't save Avalanche. Because Avalanche died. And because Biggs specifically died. Was there any ambiguity over Biggs' fate?
Biggs?
Let's think about that.
No. No. Biggs, get up!
What is this platoon again supposed to convey? The exact same message. The path we're on now is once again blocked. This is not the right sequence of events. It's the end of the road.
Twisted sense of humor.
Fates. Zack always dies. And Biggs always dies. This is literally it. There is some symbolism, there is some subtext within that is probably helping the conscious mind or the unconscious mind that is experiencing this. But this is literally what fate, what a true version of events is. You need to save your own self, Cloud. Not Zack because he dies, because this is how he died. Not Biggs because this is how he died. Is this exactly how they died? No. Biggs dies on the pillar, not in the reactor. But does that matter in a dream? It doesn't matter because the unconscious is unable to put together a real conscious portrayal of those events. So it uses symbolism and what looks like what really happened. And this is what happens with Zack as well. He gets confronted by a platoon of Shinra troopers who shoot him down. Is this exactly how it happened? No, it did not happen inside a reactor, but the unconscious is doing its best to convey the message to you. And this is the only way it knows. It's through symbolism. And if you ask me, having read Jung's stuff, this is way too obvious symbolism because we're within a video game. This is not real life. So it's video game, so they need to make that make sense in a way. Otherwise, how can you make these sequences playable if it's literally, as I said earlier, an elephant being shot down by other elephants shooting rocks at them, right? And it's...
I'm always the punchline, but I'm sick of taking it shit.
And this pose and him being hit by the bullets or the bullets avoiding him or whatever is exactly what happens in Crisis Core as well.
This is my life. I make the rules.
This is my life. I make the rules. I will try to do something again. So, okay. I jump into the void. I don't know who I am anymore because Zack always dies. So this guy is dead for the third or second time in a row. So where are we going to go back, guys? By now you get the hang of it, right? Where are we going back? To the earlier decision process. But there is a twist. Let's look at it.
Hey, why'd you pass on us?
Why'd you pass on us? Why is he asking him why he passed on them? They actually did take the picture, didn't they? What does he tell them here?
Okay, you two, smile real.
Okay, you two smile real bit for the camera, and the camera objective is literally on them. The picture is being taken, isn't it?
Pass on us.
So why is this guy telling him why'd you pass on us? He didn't pass on them,
Hey, why'd you pass on us?
Well, for starters, you
right? He didn't pass on them. He took a picture in whatever world that was. The point here being that dreams don't always make sense. dreams are very hasty. It's almost like they're memories that are floating in a pool of Mako and are hastily put together. Some things will make sense, some things will not make sense. The symbolism is here in the next sentence. The picture happened or didn't happen? Well, we thought it happened, but clearly there was something wrong because our mind went back to Zach, to the initial choice we had, because that's clearly not what we were supposed to do. And this guy will explain to us why we were not supposed to be here. You don't look like you're on a date.
More like at a funeral.
It looks more like you're at a funeral. Because she's sad,
That's true at all.
right? Is that what he says?
Can, huh?
Yeah, whatever.
See ya.
I think that in Japanese he says that she's sad or something.
Now then, where shall we go to next?
Before that, talk to me. What's going on with this place? With you?
Remember, this guy doesn't have a buster sword.
All right, I'll tell you when we get to our spot, okay?
Where's that?
You really have to ask.
I'll tell you when we get to our spot. Okay? What is their spot?
It's one
So what is Cloud doing now? This Cloud. Let's just apply it to this Cloud. Bonjour, travail de chanson, comment ça va? Je pense ce jeu a une très bonne histoire, mais je pense Iris aime Zach. Oui, je suis tout à fait d'accord. I totally agree. This story is amazing. I do also agree that Iris sees some Zach in Cloud. So it doesn't mean that she doesn't like Cloud for who he is, but I strongly believe that she kind of gets interest in, because she's curious. Like, this guy has a buster sword, has the same aura, whatever she tells him in the gold sauce or whatever. And like, I want to learn more about this guy. I want to understand. And then she it's very hard to say whether the interest is romantic or not, because she will explain it here. She doesn't know how she feels. There's liking and there's liking. I know that the translation messes it up, but in reality, Cloud also probably feels a sense of duty towards protecting Aerith due to two things. The first one is there is a Zack persona inside of him that probably compels him indirectly to want to help, because one of Zack's dreams was to go back to Midgar and save Aerith. This is why his dream at the beginning, this is why his world at the beginning of Rebirth plays out that way. That's literally Zack's dream. And the other thing is that Cloud eventually remembers Zack in Nibelheim. And I believe that Cloud becoming more and more obsessed with saving Aerith, especially right towards the end, probably has to do with that. But anyways, that the second one is more, I would say, speculation. The first one is, I think, would make a lot of
my
sense.
most favorite places. Can I make it any more obvious?
So what's going on here? We don't know where this place is. I mean, we as players, we might know. But Cloud doesn't know, right? So he's now thinking, where is this place? Our spot. Who is going to be sitting at that spot? If these worlds are parallel, if this sequence is supposed to be looked at in parallel and not sequentially, why is our good old friend Zack, who is the other path we're exploring, we're like, am I Zack? Am I Cloud? Who am I? Why is he sitting right in the spot where Aerith said, our spot? And Cloud said, what's that? Because the mind is remembering, oh, the church. But hold on, this guy already had a decision to make. So let's go there. Let's check in on him. Let's check if that's who I am. This is the biggest, probably the biggest connecting point, is that she says our spot, and then we teleport to Zack in that spot. It's one long dream. At the end, it will be revealed who opens their eyes and are experiencing this dream. I think I've told you I wrote a 40-chapter episode of Zack fanfiction that takes place in the Terrier world. Can you link me that? I would be interested to read it.
Pigs.
Again, decisions. Who should I save? Who am I? What's going on? How am I supposed to choose? Do you know, guys, how this guy appears? Probably because our spot is very clear, I think, but I don't know. He follows. So the way I interpret this is that the more Cloud's consciousness has been brought to these worlds, to this dream, the more this guy has just appeared. The more Sephiroth, the bigger Sephiroth's presence is following him through this. I am on Discord. I will link you my my pseudo.
Do you want a piece of me? No, not you.
I think it's Cedar Man, but if it's not, just let me know. It has a little chibi model. I'll do, yeah, whatever. So what happens is here, no, not you. In Japanese, this is more like you no good. Something like you shouldn't be here, right? Sort of thing.
You want a piece of me?
Yes, Bunkei, I totally agree. There is something wrong with the real Cloud, with the version of Cloud there compared to what we have been playing as. They don't match. The first thing where they don't match is that he doesn't have the Buster Sword to begin with.
No.
Not you. Right? Okay.
It was all you, wasn't it, Sephiroth?
So we go back to church. No, my Zack persona has been exiled by Sephiroth. So where do we go back? I'll find a way.
Well, it isn't over yet.
This is the same mind going through this and traveling back to the church, following the yellow flowers once again.
You'll see.
And where do we end up? Where should you end up if you follow the yellow flowers? Let's put it this way. Where do you end up? The freaking church. That's where you end up. You're back once again to where you were. This is what I've been saying. This thing is sequential.
Our spot?
We are trying to split apart the real Cloud from Zack's persona. This is why people online who ship Cloud and Tifa have been like, well, don't speak about Aerith trying to help Cloud, you're just taking away from Tifa. Dude, this whole sequence is literally probably done by her or not her, we don't care. It is one long dream where Zack and Cloud's personas are being jumbled, and one is being explored and the other one is being explored, and we're trying to figure out who we are. But you know, guys, what the biggest, let's say, mic drop, quote unquote, but the biggest reveal, I'm going to show it to you from the OG, actually. It's going to be funny.
That was easy.
Yeah, that was
I
easy.
told you it was obvious.
Yeah,
Well, you'll have to give me a harder one next time.
yeah.
Next time?
Yeah, next time.
Don't ask me about why the white materia travels through a dream. I mean, you can ask me, I can give you my answer, but probably you won't like it. It's that materia equals memories. It can travel through dream, it can travel through reality. And if you follow Yogacara, which could be the topic of the next video, maybe we do that next live, the reality we live in is a mental construct anyways. Every reality everyone lives in is a mental construct anyways. So it doesn't really, there is no physical world to begin with. So according to Yogacara, physical world doesn't exist anyways. So we would have brought the white materia from one mental construct to the other mental construct, from one dream to one perceived reality of one mind. Does that make sense? Travail Chanson, can you give me an invite to your Discord? It is in one of the messages here from Stream Elements. Picture as a member. Oh. Somehow the Discord server one is not working. Let me bring it back. I'm just gonna drop in the invite actually. Picture as a member. Oh. Wait, why is my voice playing? No, I don't want my voice to be playing. How do I invite people here? The white ship. God, I forgot completely how to do stuff because I was totally totally immersed in that thought process. I'm gonna drop it here. Yes, materia transfer is absolutely one of the most confusing things. I totally agree. However, you only need to think about it from this angle, and I'll tell you. Empty materia means that memories have been forgotten. White materia means that memories have been retrieved, or we are within the real version of events or whatever, right? So only think about it from that perspective. That's all. So does that mean that if you get the white materia whole, you go back to the real version of events, the real memories? It's possible. Is that why we have two worlds clashing? One where memories are not real. Cloud saves Aerith due to his persona. We will talk about which persona that is if we have enough time going on there. versus a real version of events where she dies and the party reacts as such, it's possible. It's because we have both a white materia and an empty materia at the same time.
At least I know now where you and I stand.
Anyways, this line is mistranslated to hell and back and whatever, so I'm not even gonna go with it.
There's liking, and then there's
Blah blah blah, we're friends, blah 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 blah. Merci, merci, de rien. Avec plaisir.
blame yourself.
Whatever happens, don't blame yourself. Remember, we are speculating that this could be the real Cloud, right? Sorry, Bunkei, I missed so many things you said. He knows Aerith is dead. Genova doing her nasty work, exactly. This is the battle. The real battle in FF7R is absolutely the personas within Cloud. That's exactly it, my friend. It's not real. It's just an illusion, Nebel7. Grazie mille. Thank you again. Thank you guys for just emphasizing. This is exactly it. Once you look at this dream sequentially, personally, my perception completely shifted. I'm like, these things make sense now. Because remember, we've been like, oh, what's the purpose of the dream worlds? Oh my god, I keep messing up the mic. What's the purpose of the worlds? Why is Zack appearing? He serves no purpose. Zack didn't have screen time. Just consider that it's the Zack within Cloud. Is it him? Is it not him? I will tell you towards the end, again, if we have time for it, who that version of Zack is and how he will end. Can you please?
Thank you. Sorry, I'll be okay.
Yeah. And we get the white materia and whatnot.
Me though.
Saving the world in you. I know that there are translation conversations there again. Just leave it aside for now. What happens here is that we get confirmation that something's wrong here because all of a sudden this dream imagery makes sense, right? So, is this the truth? So, is Aerith, because we've been trying to figure out who Cloud is, right? We are in a dream with the symbolism and whatnot. So now are we in a case where the personality, where the person in the dream, whatever archetype Aerith represents, we can speak about that in next stream. Are we in a case where she understands that this is the version of Sephiroth, this is the version of Cloud who needs to have a white materia to go back and save the world, to go back to the real world where he came from? It's possible. It is all linked. I do have to make a dedicated video, Josh. I just haven't figured out how to talk about it because you see the thought process we needed to do to go there. We needed to expand a lot on Carl Jung. And I know that if I make an hour 30 or 2 hour video and I spend like 30 minutes talking about Carl Jung, I really have to, first of all, I really need to document myself very well on that. I wouldn't just want to start speaking about it like I do now. It is very kind of spontaneous, but if I do it within an essay, it needs to be really polished and the information to be double checked. And the second thing is the attention of people watching it, but I will absolutely do it. I mean, this one can already be cut. I'll probably edit this one and drop it, but we do need a polished version of that. Remember what Cloud said in the OG after he woke up and spoke to the party on the high wind? He said that he was trapped in his own illusionary world. That's exactly it, okay? I posted 2 pictures in your Discord and a link to my story. Thank you so much. Merci, Travail du Chanson. The pictures have Zack with Lucière and Console. I'm assuming that means Lucière. Oh, Lucière is a new character you have? Thank you, Cloud, for everything. Blah, 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 blah. What is this? We realize we're in a dream. But right away, this person throws us back with white materia. What is the symbolism behind this? Again, your unconscious is telling you, giving you messages. The symbolism behind this is that this guy will always hunt this girl. That's all. Okay? It's been fun. Why does this guy have the Buster Sword now? I thought he didn't. Do you guys know why he has the Buster Sword? I'll tell you why he has the Buster Sword. I will absolutely tell you why he has the Buster Sword. I will tell you why he has the Buster Sword. Some of you already see where I'm going with this, don't you? Because this is literally what he's been experiencing. This guy falls with a Buster Sword, hugging Aerith, whatever. All of a sudden, we start dreaming and going from one personality to the other, and where am I? And I'm into the abyss, and who am I? And now, I let go of Aerith. and I still have my Buster Sword. I have been dreaming all of this while falling down wherever he is. I don't even know where the hell he is, but he has been dreaming all of this while falling down. This is a dream, right? Still in a dream, still in a dream, still in a dream. This is what this guy has been seeing. This guy has been experiencing this dream. He has the Buster Sword now. Does it make sense? Obviously, this one mirrors Genesis's fall. I'm aware of that. And what does Genesis see when he goes into the live stream? This is literally this fall, the small fall once he has the Buster Sword follows exactly this. Do you guys understand when I tell you that it's all sequential? When they fall, either they both go through this or Cloud goes through it by himself. These are dreams that he's experiencing. Now look, further confirmation. Whispers following us. Further confirmation that he was in a dream. He opened his eyes. This guy was literally dreaming, and he was hugging someone. Why does he have his hands like this? It's because he was hugging someone. He was holding Aerith. This is Cloud falling, experiencing all of this. When he fell, he gave the black materia to Sephiroth, and then he fell, and he lost himself, and he doesn't know who he is anymore. And he goes through this entire dream at the beginning of chapter 14, and he finally wakes up here. Do you guys understand it now? Does it make sense? But what happens? What did we achieve through the dream? Aerith was able to get out some sort of separation between Zack and Cloud's personalities. I am of the opinion that Aerith understood what's going on and was trying to test whether this is Zack or Cloud, or I don't know what she was trying to do. She was trying to get to Zack while at the same time saving Cloud. This is how I understand it. She cares about both. Romance, whatever way we want to go about it. This is my opinion. However, she did achieve something because it seems that she was finally able to get that personality of the real Cloud who went on a dream date with her and possibly immerse him in the body of Cloud who is falling through the abyss or whatever fall he had here, if that fall even happened. Okay, but how does that compare to what Sephiroth wants to do? Well, Sephiroth doesn't like it because the personality he's been working the whole game for is that Cloud isn't his real self. His real self, according to Sephiroth, Cloud's real self is the one who gave the black materia to him in Rebirth. And you know where Sephiroth says that too? I'll tell you where Sephiroth says that too. Sephiroth says that somewhere here. Do you guys see where I'm going? Okay, blah, 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 blah. Can you help me find it? Well, anyways, Crisis, chapter 10. Do we have a trailer? I just need the trailer, that's all. Yeah. Sorry, guys, taking way too long. I want you to take back your real self. Who's your real self? The one who gave me the black materia that day. Do you guys understand what's going on here? Do you guys understand? Sephiroth has managed to finally carve the personality that he really wanted for Cloud, right? Sephiroth has... What? 17. Chapter 13 of Rebirth. Sephiroth has finally managed to make sure that this personality is the one in Cloud's body. You see it? This one. The one who is compelled and gives him the black materia. What this biatch, according to Sephiroth, I suppose, did, is that she brought back a portion or part of his real self, and she separated the Zack persona, or even brought it back. We don't know what she did. But she almost undid everything that he was trying to do before. And so now he's like, I'm going to confuse this guy even more. I need to do something dramatically different. The Genova cells need to do it, not Sephiroth, Genova. What is he going to tell him? The true nature of reality is that all of this is real things that exist, and all of them are bound to die. Your personality is Zack is bound to die. Your personality is the true Cloud is bound to die. Your personality that gives me the black materia is bound to die. All of this is bound to die. Do you guys understand what the stakes are now? Why Cloud is... Do you understand why it's not in his head? It is too small or too short or too much of a caricature, I would say. Merci beaucoup, Travail du Chanson. Yeah, keep posting them. We might create a fan art Discord channel. We will definitely do that. Do you guys understand what's going on here? We have a case where it's a battlefield for Cloud's personality. There is his real self, which is totally buried within his subconscious or unconscious. Cloud's real self is here, right? What is happening is that when this guy went unconscious, he went here. And Aerith tried to help him in a way and tried to really bring in some of the Zack in him. Either merge it back with him because it was divided, it was split from him when he left Midgar, or actually split them apart so that Cloud finds his true self regardless of Zack and doesn't portray Zack or cosplay him anymore, right? But what Sephiroth is doing is like, this guy is going to bring his true self. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to come in and tell him that these dreams, which exist in the personal unconscious and collective unconscious, by the way, the only way Aerith is able to do all of that is through the collective unconscious. This is what the collective unconscious means in the context of Carl Jung. It is almost a door for archetypes that have been with humanity forever, with their psychology and whatnot, that have helped countless dynasties and countless cultures and civilizations do things through specific archetypes, the hero's journey, the mother, the animus, the anima, and a lot of other things, which I can go in detail through now. This is how the live stream is talking to Cloud. This is why we are here. We are playing as the ego of Cloud, the soldier. Oops, I messed up the arrows, right? However, what happens is that sometimes the guy's unconscious. When he is unconscious, he goes into these exterior worlds. He goes into the persona, the Zack persona that he cosplays. And the real Cloud also seizes the chance at times and wants to pop up, right? But Sephiroth also doesn't like this. He wants to sever this link. This is why he tells him everything that you see here is just doomed to fade. They are all just worlds the planet created, blah, 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 blah. What the hell are you even talking about, my friend? The true nature of reality. A more gaslighting line in the history of FF7 has ever been said. Is that the right way to phrase it? This is the most gaslighting line in the history of FF7. That is all. What do we see? The threshold. We see Zack's persona. Oh, look at that. Is that a rift behind us? Is that a rift? Huh? Also, does this look like the edge of creation? Just with white filter? Why are we in a white filter? Because this bitch just sent him through the white live stream. Because she gave him the white materia. That is why we are in the white live stream. That is why the imagery is white. The Black Whispers don't like that. They're like, we need to bring this guy back to the black side. We need to bring this guy back to the fake soldier persona, whatever. Sephiroth baits him and achieves exactly that. Because once he falls here, he just goes straight into the black live stream once again. But remember, we have the black materia and we have the white materia. This guy has the black materia. So there is some sort of reunion happening within Cloud between his personalities. So remember how Carl Jung says that the objective is that you make yourself whole once again? Well, your psyche wants to make yourself whole. The problem is, when does it make you whole? So the psyche is trying to reconcile yourself with your ego. It's trying to really make sure that yourself and your mind is just one big thing where it's all connected and integrated and it's perfect, right? It's the slide that we saw here. The problem is, This process is happening at a time where the dude has the black materia. So his personality merging is directly hijacked by the personality of Sephiroth that he wants to imprint on Cloud. This is why we are witnessing the reunion of two personalities. The Sephiroth personality, which jumps to the ego at times, possibly the shadow, we can interpret it that way, and Cloud's true self, which we have just witnessed possibly partially for the first time through that date. Do you guys understand? What happens then when we go into the forest? It is a duality of personalities. And do you guys want me to show you proof that she says find your true personality? What does she tell him here in English? Oh my god, go back. So we fall into the black live stream because Sephiroth has gaslit him into revenge, into anger once again. This is how the stakes are controlled. It's through which feelings are you going to convey? Which feelings are you going to get out of this guy? Do you get out the feelings of happiness that Aerith was trying to get out of him? Or are you going to get out the feelings of anger and hatred and vengeance that Sephiroth is seeking to imprint on him? Clearly, it's the latter that worked here. However, once he fights his demons, the whispers or whatever, then we are able to finally go back into the white live stream. We meet again, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you gave me, now please give me, now we are back to the real world. Let's this reality being a mental construct with the empty materia, please give me the white materia so that when I die, you don't see an empty materia fall behind me. This is literally the purpose of this. When she dies, he should not see an empty materia. Because if she dies and he sees an empty materia, Holy will never be summoned in that continuity, which is a mental construct that he has trapped himself in. This is why the white materia, which is timeless and literally just memories, travels to this mental construct to replace the empty materia that exists there. Does that make sense? However, there are still two versions of him once again. We are talking about a merged world. What did she tell him?
Leave Sephiroth to me.
I can handle him? Yeah.
He's planning to use the black materia.
Yeah.
I won't let that happen.
Oh, sorry.
Find.
Focus on you, Cloud, the one I've been trying to find. She already says the real you. The real version of yourself. Now, please, guys, see what she says in French. Travail du chanson. Maybe you can confirm that I'm not gaslighting these guys. Because we have one French speaker here so that we confirm that I'm not lying to you guys. Blah, 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 blah. She says, trouve ta vraie personnalité. Pense seulement à toi, s'il te plaît. Please find your true personality. Only think about yourself, please. Well, I'm translating literally, but you guys get the meaning. You guys see why I explained that first of all, we have translation issues. And secondly, we are talking about personalities. Stat worlds equal personalities and a version of events. If your memory is that you came back to Midgar alone, your personality is going to be one. If your memory is that Zack actually never died and you are Zack, then you're going to come back to Midgar and you're going to come back with another persona. If Zack actually survived and he brought you back to Midgar, that's going to be a completely different persona. Your personality, your ego is shaped based on a version of events. A small difference in your memories literally changes your whole personality. Does that make sense? If a close friend, if a really dear person to you died, then you actually are not going to be the same person that if you live in another reality where they didn't die. That's going to be a completely different personality. And this is exactly why we have different worlds. It's not the planet's fate, blah, blah, blah. It is important to the planet's fate because Cloud, once again, the weapons show that Cloud is central and pivotal to the planet's fate because he is the one who Sephiroth manipulates. And he is the only one supposedly able to beat him anyways. Cam, are you saying they may have this, but is this just exclusive to Cloud? If so, why? Which one are you specifically talking about? Which aspect? I'm sorry, I waited too long to answer, so probably your point now was mentioned earlier. J'aurais aimé pouvoir rester écouter. Listen, I'm also going to have to switch off in like 10-15 minutes. I hope, yeah, we can go a little bit longer. But I really need to take my daughter to the park. And this wasn't like a really great long one. I didn't imagine that we will go so in depth here. I want to wrap it up with this. find your true personality, right? That's what we said. Okay. So what happens? We are once again. Hang on a minute. We wake up here. I want to show you two things, guys. The first thing is that, are we in a dream or not? There is one very easy clue to understand whether you're in a dream or not. Just look at the visual cues they leave. The tunnel we're traveling here through is made of rainbows. We are still in a dream. This is the exact same dream that happens in the OG. Duality, live stream black, live stream white. When do we go back to what could be physical reality? Or at least what is perceived by Cloud as the physical reality? When we go back through a green tunnel. Oh my god, where's the green tunnel, dude? Where's the freaking green tunnel? I just saw the green tunnel now. Where is it? I wouldn't say they are exclusive to Cloud. I would say because of Cloud's state, his mind is not, his identity is not settled in a way where his self is entirely integrated with his ego. I'm not sure if you've watched the Carl Jung stuff we spoke about at the beginning. I would recommend going back there. And then what we are trying to understand is why his dreams are super useful to him while at the same time confusing because he has Michael poison. Yeah, totally. There you go. So that's a tunnel. So the first tunnel was a dreamlike tunnel with rainbows. However, when we want to go back to what looks like reality, we are going through a green live stream tunnel. We are trying to go back to a level of consciousness that is different. This is how you separate whether we are in a dream or not, in my opinion. Could be wrong. Also, what's going on here? It looks like they don't fall, whereas they actually fall, right? But that's a topic for another day. Oops. Right, and then a bunch of stuff happens. The guy who wakes up there is a combination of Cloud, possibly his real self, and Sephiroth. This is why he talks in a very creepy way here when he says, sometimes you just know. Look at that.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Well, you can thank me for the ride later. Gotta find Aerith first.
She told us that an ancient city lies just beyond these woods, and that the Cetra built a very special altar there. That's where she's headed, I'm sure of it.
Problem is, it's a minute.
This is a very Sephiroth Cloud. Okay? Just get that out of the way. Because you will actually see the black whispers literally coming out of him here. This is Sephiroth's, the persona that Sephiroth wants imprinted on Cloud. So what is this guy about to do, in your opinion? A version of Cloud that is entirely under Sephiroth's control. What is he on his way to do here? You guys think he's on his way to save her? Absolutely not. This guy is absolutely on his way to kill her. This guy was supposed... Cloud's fate was to actually kill Aerith. This is what the Black Whispers have been trying to show him. And the purpose of the Whispers is to show you whether you had a choice or not. It's to actually recontextualize once again events from the OG and to show you that there was literal wind stopping these people from doing things and forcing them to do other things. So it's like they did not have a choice. It's almost as if we're revisiting the past and we're like, well, why could he have stopped Sephiroth? And they're like, no, he couldn't have, because look at what the Whispers are doing to him. There's literal wind. There are external forces that are very strong and stronger than him that are making him do this. This guy was literally about to kill her here. You guys see his eyes? This is a very Sephiroth Cloud once again. Right? He was chosen by Sephiroth and Genova and whatnot to do the job. However, he resists. Right? He resists. And so Genova is like, what a disappointment. I'm just gonna do this myself. Right? What happens here? Rainbow stuff, a dream world being created, personalities. Do you know who this is? Do you guys know who this is? This is the real Cloud. This is not the Sephiroth persona. This is the real Cloud, showing up in Cloud's perception to save Aerith from death. What Carl Jung says is that sometimes a dream will show you a complete opposite thing to what you were doing, to what you were um, um, actually doing in real life. And the purpose is to bring you back to compensate for your extreme action with another extreme action that allows you to sit somewhere in the middle. I just highlighted something the other day on one of Carl Jung's books, Man in His Symbols. By the way, I would recommend reading that if you really want to understand what's going on with about Jung and the theory of the psyche and whatnot. This is the real self of Cloud showing up and telling him, "You are not someone who kills people. You are someone who wants to save people. Let me show you what you really want to do." Unfortunately, we know that he freezes. In reality, he freezes. But the whole reason why he's able to show up here is because we were just introduced possibly to him towards the end of that dream, that very long dream that happened. It allowed us to bring back some sort of the real Cloud, who thankfully saves Aerith here. Because you can always take it as a question of how does Cloud resist the urge to kill Aerith? In the OG and Ever Crisis, it shows up as he's just like standing there, and he doesn't move. But maybe the reason he doesn't move is because in his mind, this is what he was going through. Does that make sense? Let me look at the highlights and hopefully I can find it. Where do you see the highlights actually? So I'm here. This is why I'm saying it is delusional, but I believe that Cloud saving Aerith is a white lie, in the sense that it is fake, but it is necessary. I believe it's necessary both because some version of Aerith should stay alive in some sort of consciousness level to be able to stand up to Sephiroth, and I believe that if Cloud didn't see himself saving her, he would have killed her. This is the only way Cloud's subconscious or unconscious was able to wake him up from to stop him from killing her, is by compensating, going the other way, and channeling something that is so strong as to him saving her. Okay, I need to check out the highlights here. I'm not sure where I left them. How do you see the highlights, dude? Like, you keep bookmarking stuff, and then once you need it, you're like, nowhere to be found. Okay, so there's one here. Yeah, Stoic is on Discord. I'm not sure why he doesn't interact, but I think he said that he was very busy these days, isn't he? So it's understandable, right? I really have to run in a few minutes, so this will probably be the last one. Annotations. Okay, function of dreams. No, let's sort by the last ones. Recent. Probably my favorite of Young's concept. That is so kind, Stoic. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much. I gotta edit this, or I gotta make like a proper video out of it. But yeah, this is what we've been sitting on with Bunke. But it's very hard to really put all of this together. Next time I might read this to you guys, like the entire book, because it's just so good. The horror that one has. What's the use of trying? And it is essential to regard as being absolutely real. There must be single reality. Yeah, but what does the role of the anima? Also connected, even more vital is the role the anima plays. Yesterday, but there are times when we clown I call I. Figure cannot be sure whether they personify to integrate them into one's life. Blah 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 blah. The following dream, great and collective infection. Shadow does not context of emotions. Represents personal winner. Shadow becomes aware of three. Anyways, I'm so sorry, guys. I have to leave and I'm not able to find it. But the only thing I wanted to say is that in dreams, there is a compensatory mechanism where your dream or your unconscious shows you the complete opposite of what you wanted to do. Exactly. Well, not the truth. I would say that his true self, his unconscious, shows him what he wants to do to stop him from killing her. It needs something as strong as his dream of saving people. Yeah, and maybe next time I could talk about it in more detail. I will wrap it up with one thing, guys. One very final thing. I will wrap it up. Remember how? So we're saying that all of this is happening within the time span where Cloud gives the black materia to Sephiroth, and right before they head towards the Forgotten Capital. So my theory or my hypothesis is that all of that was a dream while he was like lying there in the Forgotten Capital and doing something. In the temple and doing something, right? What happened here? What happened in the OG within that time? Between the time he loses it and wakes up. And this will probably be the definite proof, guys. Remember, we don't have any of these screens. There is a very big deviation from the OG. We see the Forgotten Capital, but the forest, the sleeping forest, but we don't see the OG. We don't see the line from the OG. Look at that. He gives the black materia to Sephiroth, and he says, everything is white. What did I do? I don't remember anything. My last memory is when? Was it when I went to save Cloud as Zack? Was it one of those dreams? Was it the personality that went with Aerith on a date? Was it me going and saving Biggs? What is it me in the church? What the hell happened? If everything's a dream, don't wake me. No one of these lines, not a single one of these lines appeals in Rebirth. However, everything we see in terms of dream worlds before Cloud wakes up in chapter 14 is essentially a representation of the process he's going through within this white screen and all the dialogue. The proof is that he wakes up once again in what's the forgotten, the sleeping forest. It is flipped, right? And listen, the conversation is the same. Yeah, I hear you. Sorry for what happened. Blah, 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 blah. I can't help. Oh, find your true self. Something like that. Why don't you worry about what's really important? You. And this is where Sephiroth appears and tells her, she's going to be a problem. We're going to have to handle her. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Does this make sense? Oh my God, I feel like I was giving a lecture. Why would I be giving a lecture? Anyways. Guys, this has been probably the best stream ever on this channel. Thank you so much everyone who showed up. Thank you so much to everyone who chatted. Guys, make sure you go and check out the Discord. I will link it once again here. Get in, let's talk theory, let's just chat, let's do things, we are gonna have community streams where you can literally show up and then just we can all talk together. I really love doing that kind of stuff. Hold on, I didn't switch the scene yet. Sorry for that. Next week we'll probably I need two things from you guys. Can you please in the comments, so this will be available obviously as VOD. Can you guys go into the comments and tell me your top 2 picks for this specific time slot series? Because I would love every week to look at a theory video or an essay video, analyze it, and maybe do one of these yap sessions. That is the first thing. Was there a second thing? Yeah, the second thing is, what is the next video you guys would like us to check out? Okay? Thank you so much, everyone. I really love you guys. Thank you for allowing me to do this, for supporting the channel. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for just listening. And if you guys have different opinions, if you disagree with something, let's talk about it. Just let me know. And let's get in the Discord and talk. Let's get into the comment section and talk. Thank you so much, everyone. I really have to go and take my daughter to the park because otherwise she's going to hate me during the whole weekend, and I really don't wanna miss my promise to her. Oh my God, what did I do? Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Hope you have a good Sunday, guys. Cheers.